Hello, Gab. How are you? What's going on today? Oof. It is certainly Monday. Which now I feel like an idiot for not taking any time off for my birthday, but it's okay. My birthday's technically on a weekend anyway, but I'm probably gonna take some days off next week just to kind of let myself reset. I feel like I need to. I've definitely gotten that funk again where it's like, oh man, all I'm doing is working. I just go in 5 days a week and then I just, it's like, here I am. uh, you know, I get my kind of weekend off, and now even my weekends are kind of starting to slam in a bit. Or now I got to drive out on Sunday. It's for like good reason. It's for, family, and, it's for someone who's taken care of me a lot when I was a kid, and they want me to go out. Just the 4-hour drive is going to suck. That's the part I'm really not looking forward to. And then the 4-hour drive back to then come to work on Monday, which effectively makes my Saturday like not a rest day, but is what it is. So yeah, I'm probably going to definitely take some time off next week. Dead tired and my throat is shot. So average teaching day. It's funny. The second you said that, I feel like all of a sudden I can't talk either. That's going to be very interesting because that's all I'm going to be doing this stream. But I hope you get some tea or something nice to at least soothe your soothe your throat. I've got I overfroze my my bi water. Not as in my bisexual water, BAI. It's like water that has like antioxidant fruits in it. So I have a blueberry flavor that I really, really like. And usually what I'll do is with my drinks is like before I actually have them, I'll throw them in the freezer for a second. Like for like usually about 30-40 minutes, but it has kind of like a nice like chill, and it crystallizes some of it. So then as I drink it, it stays cold, and then on top of that, by the time I actually finish it off, it's like, oh, that's exactly that's what I needed. That tastes delicious, and it stays cold for like 2 hours versus it like getting warm within like that amount of time. Thought you were going to talk about it exploding in the freezer. No, so actually, here's what happened. It exploded when I brought it out of the freezer. So, I had kept it in there for too long. So I kept it in there for about, my intention was to put it in there for about 30-45 minutes. I lost track of time. I had to do something that I was working on. And then I remembered, oh shit, it's in the freezer, and it was in there for about 2 hours or 2.5 hours. So I pulled it out and I'm like, okay, this will like defrost soon. It will. So it'll defrost soon, and then once it finally does, I'll actually be able to enjoy my drink. But the problem is that in doing that, I kept it here and sat it down for a moment and was like, okay, it'll probably be ready by the time I'm ready to do stream. No, it's not. It is not ready at all, and I know this because I sat it here. And all of a sudden I turned over and there was just a giant red spot on my desk. And I sat there and I looked and I'm like, oh my God, it's from the fucking water. The water started to surge out. It like surged out because now it's just like a giant block of ice in there, and it surged out. And all of a sudden there was that. So it was a fun little start to the day here. I'm absolutely on it on a Monday. Oh God, if it was the weekend, I'd probably have like a drink, but no, I don't drink during the weekdays anymore. Thank you, bartending. It was a fun time where like it felt like every day of my life I was just like I would have a drink after work, I would go out and then have a drink at the bar I would go to, then come home, and then it's like, well, I already have it here. You know, it's just like almost every single day was just nonstop. So I'm kind of glad that like working a normal job and being around people where it's not constant, like nonstop, like a constant party, has done a lot better for my life and just well-being in general. Anywho, I am delaying here. Last time on UMINEKO, let's see. Oh, I mean, what's there to really talk about? It's going good. Next one. How are you? What happened the last time we were here? I mean, the big things that happened that we can definitely talk about, like off the top, is bodies were discovered, and yeah, so we opened it up, and it was just like, oh man, these people are missing. That's crazy. We need to go find them. So they go on a search. They find the garden shed, and they look in there, and oh shit, 6 dead bodies. Can't stay for long because I have work, but I hope you have an amazing stream and have a good one, everyone. Thank you, next one. I appreciate you dropping by, nonetheless. It's always glad. I'm always glad to see you here, and I'm glad that you always give your undying support here to the channel. So thank you. So yeah, so that's going on, and just dead, right? 6 bodies in there dead. The kids end up seeing that, like, they're rushing out there, so something's going on. They see it. And the 6 dead people are Rosa, Rudolph, Kyrie, Rosa, Rudolph, Kyrie, shit, what is his name? I know what his name is. Don't tell me. I got it. We'll come back to him. Goda. I'm still forgetting the other one. Kraus, there we go. Kraus, and then Shannon. All 6 of them are found dead in that shed. And there is a red symbol with a circle. It looks like a magic circle that was found on there, and they're all like freaking out now because they don't know what's going on. After discovering this, so the family's all freaked out. They're like, "What the fuck?" We also then find that after doing this, Natsuhi and shoot, man, names are, I'm struggling today. Natsuhi and the woman we don't like. The one of the family that we thought like definitely should have died but didn't die. Goes upstairs to go see, okay, is Kinzo alive? Is Kinzo okay? And he's still up there. Kinzo is not there, not found, not confirmed dead, just he's not there. We don't know where he is. He's just missing. So not a confirmed death. He could be anywhere. After all that's done, they do a lot of talking about like, okay, what could have happened here? There's a lot of logic talk about like who could have done this, a lot of accusations going around. But I'm just sitting here just like, okay, so when are we going to talk about the fact that Maria can just sit here and, you know, talking about witch stuff and speaking complete sentences? The fuck's up with that? And as soon as I bring that up yet again, Maria decides to completely jump scare me and scare the living shit out of me with one of the worst faces I have seen in a visual novel ever. And starts talking about like, why don't you don't believe? And it's like, your wavelengths are wrong. And that's why you can't see her. And so Battler is like, okay, cool. That's messed up, but like, whatever. Like that's crazy. He goes into the kitchen, I think just before, everything's being prepared because the, servants are sitting there and they're talking about it and discussing everything that's happened. And he's like, so, yo, I want to join in on this conversation. What's going on in here? What do you mean this switch? Let's talk about it. And they're like, don't don't beseech her name. Oh, right. Because Maria also explains like the circles, because it's all written in Hebrew, and she can apparently read it. And not only read it, but then can recite Psalms just like off the top of her head, which is insane. And then just after all that happens, she goes and meets him in the kitchen, and then goes on her witch stuff again, and is just like, oh, you can't see her. She's right there. She's right behind you. And everybody in the kitchen is looking right at that, but he can't see it. And he knows he can't see it. So things are kind of crazy right now. I don't know what to expect or what's going to happen next, but on the edge of our seats here. And that's where we left off yesterday. Let me get some water here. I'm going to remember her name real quick, because this is driving me insane. Ava. How did I forget Ava? That's right. Ava is her name. I'm also curious. I don't think I read this. It disappeared from his study unnoticed. Kinzo's study has everything from a bed to a toilet to a bathtub, so it's extremely rare for him to go outside. However, he does occasionally go out for a walk on a whim without telling anybody, and his disappearance invariably leads to a huge uproar throughout the house. He usually comes back as soon as he gets hungry. Usually. Hello, Goose. How are you? After a meal, some people tend to head to the bathroom, while others prefer to relax for a bit. It seemed that several people had left the parlor, just like I did when I went to the kitchen to drink some water. Oh, that's right. Nazi, he has a gun. I failed to mention that part. Nazi has a rifle that she found when she went up to Kinzo's room. There was a rifle that she found there and has taken ownership of it. Well, I think I'm mentally ready for more sadness. Well, I don't think anything like what happened yesterday will happen here today. At least I don't think so. In the end, Nazi reluctantly retracted her order that everyone remain packed in the parlor, on the condition that no one headed out on their own or strayed too far. In any case, 11 people are shut up in the same room, starting early in the morning. The air will start to stagnate. Also, quite some time had passed, so everyone was starting to recover from the shock of that morning, and their sense of danger might have been weakening too. However, it was a certain fact that 6 people had been killed inside this mansion, so no one was completely negligent. So whenever they went out into the hallway for a fresh breath of air, trying to act tough, they would quickly get scared of standing there isolated and would eventually return to the parlor. Migraine MILF really does look like a woman from a Western movie. She does fit the bill. Yes. I guess it's like the north wind and the sun. If you force someone to stay shut in, they'll resist. But if you tell them to do whatever they want, they'll come back obediently. People do not like doing what they're told. When the servants finished cleaning up from the meal, they returned obediently to the parlor, just as Nazi had told them to, and sat on a sofa near the entrance, patiently awaiting orders. Maria, almost as though she'd suddenly finished playing witches. Even her dress looks Western. I mean, like old school, like Western, like if we're talking like, you know, a cowboy film, yes. Because I was like, well, all of them are like in some sort of Western form of attire. But yes, her specifically does look like if you were to do a cowboy film from like the the early 1900s, she would fit the bill. Yes. I returned to the pure Maria I knew well, saying, "Ugh. What in the world happened back there?" I hadn't felt even an atom of the presence of this person called Beatrice, who was supposedly standing behind me, invisible. However, it felt like I'd glimpsed a little of that presence inside Maria. That's low in my ear. Oh, there it is. Oh, that's why, because I had the volume down to like 4. You're right.
マリアちゃんは魔女とかの話になると人が変わるね。
When Maria starts talking about witches, her personality changes. That's one way to describe it.
昨日海岸でバトラ君も見たでしょ。
Battler-kun, you also saw it down by the beach yesterday, right?
サソリのキーホルダーの時か。
You mean that scorpion keychain?
いや、あんな機嫌を損ねるみたいな感じじゃなくてよ。
Oh yeah, that's a second thing to bring up that that happened in the last stream too. She talked about, oh man, Battler, you're really lucky that that scorpion keychain kept you safe, and he's like, excuse me, I don't even have that. What are you talking about? It's like, so turns out that like it was like his Phoenix Wright moment where it was like a gotcha, but like I don't think that's the gotcha you want. You don't want to do that.
まるでその二重人格みたいな感じで。
No, I don't mean like when her feelings were hurt. I'm talking about her having a dual personality or something.
たまにそういうこともあるな。
Yeah, that happens sometimes too.
さっきマリアが魔法陣の話を始めた時みたいなやつ、たまにあるぜ。
That thing Maria did when she was talking about the magic circle does happen every now and then.
気持ち悪いけどな。
It's freaky though. Apparently Jessica had spotted that key Maria did a few times. I don't think Battler is this clever, but what if he lied about losing the charm to mess with Beatrice, and he actually still has it so that she tries to kill him, she'll be unable to, which will drive her mad. Here's the thing though, if the charm isn't actually on him and I don't know how witches work to really answer that question, or at least how a witch will work inside of here, because that kind of seems silly, right? Like, wouldn't the witch be able to detect it then? I think that what probably really happened, because remember, Jessica also didn't have the charm, because Jessica gave the charm to Natsuhi. I just think what happened is that they didn't go to the mansion. The witch didn't go to the mansion. The witch went to the mansion first, got all the sacrifices there, and that's why he was spared. I think that was just, I think that was the Beatrice's way of trying to maybe warn or to come off more frightening. And the reality is just that the witch was never there. Because remember, everybody who died in the mansion. Nobody in the guest house was targeted. And if they did go there to the guest house, well, guess what? Jessica didn't have her charm either. We do know that. Battler, and if what Battler is saying is true, he didn't have his charm. The only one who would have had a charm then, because I believe George did get a charm there. It's literally just George. And if George's charm is enough to kind of cover the room, right? Let's say that it has like the Nazi effect, right? Because Nazi left it on the door. If Nazi just left it on the door and that was enough to protect her, then hey, I think that should apply for the entire room too. If George just has the charm around, and maybe it's possible that the witch detected that charm there, and because the charm was detected, didn't do anything in that room. I don't know. I'm kind of spitballing here. I just happened to catch it at a bad moment and was pretty freaked out seeing it for the first time. When did George get one? Didn't they give didn't she give one to everybody on the beach? So George would have gotten one, Jessica got one, and Battler got one, right? That was when they all went to the beach and they were talking about the island and stuff. Because or like where the location like of the puzzle and everything was like pointing to. I believe George got one too, because for a second I was like, I don't remember Battler getting one, and then I was like, oh wait, no, he would have actually. So I think George also has one too. Hello, Poppy. Welcome on in. So what is that? Does Maria have a dual personality or something?
そういうのに憑依されたりとかしちまうのかよ。
Or are you saying that her spiritual sense really is that strong and she's being possessed by spirit or whatever?
そういうのじゃないと思うよ。
Just Jessica and battle her because Maria pulled two out of her bag? Okay, well then that actually strengthens the point then that that the killing then wasn't targeted based upon who had a charm, it was targeted based on location, and that they only attacked the mansion. They didn't go anywhere else, right? It's the only thing that makes sense then. That is if that's the case.
バトラ君にも経験ない？
No, I don't think that that it's that. Have you ever experienced it?
小さい頃、自分以外の誰かになりたかったなんてこと。
When you were small, did you ever want to become someone other than yourself? When humans are born, no one has individuality. However, when they reach their growth period, their sense of self starts to be born. They want to be different than other people. But since everyone else in their class is learning the same things as at the same rate and being forced into the same lifestyle, of course they aren't going to find anything that makes them different from everyone else around them. Once they realize, the first thing they do is start breaking the rules in what's called their rebellious stage. Since everyone else follows the rules, they want to show off their individuality by breaking them. So even those who try to act tough, mocking everyone around them and calling them childish, can actually be viewed as cute kids searching for themselves if you look at it this way. Well, I'm lecturing about all of this like I'm so smart, but I actually got it secondhand from George on a key. I myself was one of those embarrassing guys who thought it was cool to act like a little bastard. You still do. Well, that was when I was at the age where you try to show off for the opposite sex. You still do that. What? What age was this? I'm very curious.
成長期の根底には、子供から脱却したいというひよこが殻を破るのに似た衝動がある。
The main feature of the growing period lies in an impulse to break away from your life as a kid, like a chick trying to crack open the shell of their egg.
子供と大人の違いは何かわかるかい？
Do you know what makes children and adults different?
年齢？
Age? Yes and no.
それとも体格？
Or do you mean size? No.
違うよ。経験だよ。
Yes. That's yes, it's
大
experience.
人が子供を見下すのは人生経験が少ないからだよ。
Adults can look down on children because children have very little life experience.
子供が何を言っても鼻で笑ってしまうのは世間知らずのくせにと見下しているからだよ。
The reason they snort at everything children say is because they think kids know nothing about the real world.
ああ、そういうのわかるぜ。
Yeah, I understand that.
子供の頃って妙に人生ってもう悟りきったようなことを口にして年長しゃぶりたくなるよな。
When you're a kid, you talk like you've got life all figured out somehow, trying to act like an
大
adult.
人は子供が何を言っても世の中甘くないとか社会に出ればわかるとか鼻で笑ってる。
No matter what kids say, adults just snort at them and say they're too naive or that they'll understand when they get older or something.
まあ実際そうなんだけど子供的にはそういうのって見下されてるみたいでムカつくんだよな。
Well, it's probably true, but to a kid, it's just annoying. Yep. Like they're being looked down upon.
なるほどな。
I get it. Okay, George, hear me out. Maria is literally going from repeating short sentences and going ooh to full-on speeches about witches and shit. Do you really think it's normal?
知識や経験の有無か。
I get it. It's a question of knowledge and experience.
確かに年齢だけ無駄に食ってても尊敬はされねえよな。
Well, I guess you're right that there's no reason to respect a person for their age if they've just wasted their lives.
となるとつまり子供から脱却したいという衝動を持つ時期にかつ他者とは違うという個性を持ちたくなる。
Therefore, during the period when they try to separate themselves from other children, they also try to take on the personality traits different from those around them.
子供からの脱却がつまり知識や経験なのだとしたら
And if knowledge and experience is what separates kids and adults, Gab, can you answer something for me? When we're on the beach scene, right, where we're by the shore, and they're there, and Maria is giving out the scorpion bracelets, right? Or scorpion charms. Does she only have 2 or does she have 3? I'm trying to figure out if George received one, and if I'm misremembering that. Thank you. And if knowledge and experience is what separates kids and adults.
なるほど。他人の持ち得ない知識を持つことが
I get
一つのアイデンティティになるわけか。
I get it. If they know something no one else knows, it becomes part of their identity.
小学校の頃なんかさ、クラスの誰も知らないことを知っていたり。
You know, when I was in elementary school, I learned things no one else knew.
持っていたり身につけていたりするとヒーローになれたよな。
Get things no one else had, wear things no one else wore, and became a bit of a hero for it.
バトラもそういう経験あるだろ?
One for Battle Royale and one for Jessica. That's it. Okay, never mind. I was wrong. So then, Maria, well, not Maria, I guess, it's really Beatrice, is bullshitting then. Because then there's no charm in that room. Unless the witch just never wanted to go for Maria. Yeah, it's just what it is that the targets were just everybody in the mansion. That has to be it. Because even with the threat of like, oh, well, was Rosa sleeping in the mansion? I don't remember. Yes, Rosa was in the mansion. Because she wasn't there in the guest house. So yeah, it's because of the fact that, well, right now, when you're looking at the evidence, it's just, the witch went to the mansion. That's where the targets were. And that's where she went to go take her targets. Nazi, he did genuinely luck out because Jessica gave her charm. But the threat of like, oh man, if you had that charm, I think she's bluffing. Well, like somewhat bluffing. Like she's trying to impose some sort of danger that wasn't actually there. At least in that situation. But in terms of like, hey, he needs to believe in her, I would get on that as soon as possible, Battler.
あるある。
Yeah.
何か一芸に秀でたいと思うお年頃って確かにあるな。
There was definitely an age when I wanted to excel in some skill or other.
なるほど。
I see.
それが子供からの脱却。つまり成長期ってわけか。
So that's because I was trying to separate myself from being a child or going through my growth period, in other words. Everyone had rooms at the guest house. Oh, that's right. Yeah, everybody did have a room there. You're correct. Everybody did have a room there. But yes, there were prepared rooms at the mansions because of the rain. And that's why, but everybody ended up staying there. So Rosa stayed there. Shannon went back over there, and was checking up on stuff. So let's go through this. I'm gathering this correctly. In the meeting, died. In the meeting, died. In the meeting, died. In the meeting, died. Was there to make sure that so the shift got changed. So Goda ended up being over there, died. Went over there afterwards, died. Kanan was with us. I don't know where Kumasawa was. But either way, she's alive. Maria was with us. Battler was, we're Battler. George was with us. Jessica was with us. I wonder if Nanjo was just in Kenzo's room, and that's maybe why he was safe. Maybe? I don't remember if he stayed in the guest house or not. Maybe he did. And Genji was in the guest house. I feel like Beatrice is the type of witch to kill everyone who can see her and just leave Battler alone to prove to him she's real. I mean, we'll see. Nanjo was at the guest house. Okay, cool. I see. So that's because I was trying to separate words from being a child, or going through my growing period, in other words.
健全な意味での成長期は、そうして没個性を脱却するために、人が持たない知識やスキルを身につけることを促す。
If you put a positive spin on it, the growing period forces you to separate yourself from others, thereby pushing you to gain skills and knowledge no one else has. By the way, happy birthday, Rosa. Oh, shit. Happy Death Day, Rosa. I'm guessing her birthday is June 3rd. Oh, hey, Goose, by the way, can you do command caps, please? And then issue an apology afterwards?
これは社会学的にも面白いことだよ。
This is also interesting from a sociological standpoint.
人が没個性を嫌うために人と違う技術を身につけようとする。
Because people hate being like everyone else. Because people hate being like everyone else. They try to learn skills other people don't know.
これにより社会は幅広い技術を獲得して立脚する。
In this way, society can acquire the broad range of skills it needs to survive.
神々の高度なプログラミングに驚かされるね。
The quality of the gods' programming is truly surprising.
まあ個性がネガティブに働くこともあるぜ。
Well, unique personality traits can also be a negative, right?
クラスみんなが真剣に勉強してるから俺だけはサボって目立とうとかよ。
Like if, say, everyone in class was studying hard, but I was the only one slacking off trying to stand out. Okay, that last bit was really true about me. It's only recently that I've been able to thank the middle school teacher who slapped me after school.
でもまあ誰も飛べない飛び箱を飛んでやりたいとか。
But, well, I try to jump over things no one else could.
成績のいい連中を周回遅れにさせてやるぜってマラソンで全力疾走とか。
Sprint as fast
そう
as
い
I
う気持ち
could.
はあったな。
Sprint as fast as I could. Sorry, I tried to jump over things no one else could. Sprint as fast as I could. Try to lap those guys with good grades when we did a marathon. I just felt like doing it.
勉強はダメだったから少なくとも運動では見返してやるぜって根性はあった。
It was in my nature that if I couldn't study well, then at least I could get back at them by exercising. That's a interesting. Okay.
なるほど。ちゃんと成長期してるな俺。
It was in my nature that if I couldn't study well, then at least I could get back at them by exercising. I see. So I really did go through a proper growing period.
男子ってやっぱり肉体的な方面に関心が向くよな。
I guess boys really do tend to focus more on physical stuff.
でもよ、同じ時期に女子は精神的な面に向きやすいんだよ。
I guess boys really do tend to focus on more on physical stuff, but you know, girls of the same age tend to focus more on mental, spiritual things.
バトラのクラスの女子にも占いとか霊感とかそんなこと言ってる女子連中のグループがあったりしただろ？
I'll bet there were groups of girls in your class that got really interested in fortune telling in their spiritual senses.
あったあった。
Yeah, there were.
人の星座とか血液型とか聞いてきて、やっぱりクスクス。
They come over asking me for my sign and my blood type, and then they laugh. I thought so.
とか笑われると大いにムカついたもんだぜ。
It really got on my nerves.
どこのクラスに行っても女子は占いが好きだし。
No matter which class you go to, girls like fortune telling.
決まって霊感に強いだの弱いだの感受性がどうこう見えないものが見えちまうだのそういう手合いが必ずいたもんだぜ。
Deciding whether your spirit sense is strong or weak, what your sensitivity is, whether you can see the unseeable. That kind of thing definitely happened to me.
占いも霊感も学校では教えないものだからね。
I never had any of those girls in my school. I didn't have any girls in my high school, so I can't relate. Everyone who I've seen reading this goes, Lamayo, no, but I distinctly remember when I was around 10 years old, there was a group of girls in my class who were really into horoscopes. I feel like anybody in high school or like middle school who was a girl was like always into horoscopes. Like I would look at our sister's school and it's just like it's just constantly what they talked about was like, you know, the horoscope and all that. And then like you'd have like the little like the catchers thing where it's like the little paper thing where it's like, you know, pick a color and then pick a number and stuff like that. Like, yeah, like people read this and don't really? Huh. Interesting. No maidens. Zero maidens in high school. Zero of them. That's because fortune telling spiritual senses are things that aren't taught in school.
男の子と違い、内向的な世界に関心を持ちやすい女の子にとって、
Even in college, like, you know, forget like middle school and high school for a second. Even in college, that was still happening. Where it's just like, yeah, there are, like, I found like a lot of people very interested in like horoscopes and stuff like that were like women and girls, and like the girls there would just be like, oh, you're a Gemini, like I can, you know, I can like they would always be the ones that wanted to do like palm readings and stuff like that. That wasn't a like, yeah. To girls who tend to be more introverted.
それはアイデンティティを確立しやすくて、かつ興味深いジャンルなんだよ。
It's a genre that's easy to build an identity upon and one that holds a lot of interest for them. In college, there was a group of girls and this one gay guy who were really into horoscopes and ascendants and stuff. Yeah, there was, you know, like I still can remember, like, there were a few girls who would have, like, you know, like, what are those, the little dream catcher things? Like, they would hang them up, like all over, like, their dorm room or, like, on their door. And, you know, they would have, like, blankets. And, like, I remember one of them had, like, a Ouija board. It's just, like, yeah, like, I can't think of many guys who, like, had that or, like, did anything like that. Usually, I would, like, it would usually be associated with like, oh, hey, a girl did this kind of thing. Not to say that like men can't do it, but it's like, you know, in terms of like, you know, like girls don't do this, or like somebody being like, no, I'm like, really? That's the experience that I had, at least.
男子が成長期に入ると急に悪ぶったりして大人に反抗を始めるのと全く同じに
I think guys generally think more what's in front of them. I think that's fair. Just like how when boys enter their growing period, they start acting tough and rebel against adults.
女子も成長期に入るとそういうのに興味が出るようになるんだよ
I mean, yeah, I did rebel against my parents, but you know that was the reasoning was a little different. But yeah. I mean, like yes, generally true. When girls enter their growing period, they start getting interested in that kind of thing.
私はそうでもなかったけどさ
Well, I didn't though.
つまり
You don't have to, Jessica.
マリアがオカルトに関心を持つのは年頃の
You can be
女の子と
whatever
して
you
は
wanna be.
そう珍しくもないってことか
I want to see Jessica's emo phase. I'd be very interested to see if she even had one or was allowed to even have one. So, Maria, having so much interest in the occult isn't that rare among girls her age. Well, at this level, yes, it is. Even if we accepted that, I wonder if it really explains that creepy dual personality thing. Actually, I think I probably could accept that explanation more or less.
さっきも言った通り、大人になるというのは知識や経験を持つことを言う。
As you just said, becoming an adult means gaining knowledge and
だから
experience.
それを得るために子供たちはいろいろなことを学んで子供を脱却しなければならないんだけど。
So to gain that, it's necessary for children to learn all sorts of things and break free from childhood.
子供の世界に今も昔もはびこっているある便利な妄想があるんだよ。
However, there are certain convenient delusions that you see often in the world of children, both now and in the
わ
past.
かるかい？
Do you know what I mean?
漫画やアニメに多いだろ
You see it all the time in manga and anime, right?
ほらあれだよ
It's kind of like that.
前世の記憶が蘇ってとか
Like you've got memories from a previous life that start to resurface.
偉大なるなんとかの魂が乗り移ってとか
Like you're being possessed by the soul of the great something or whatever.
ああ他にも遺伝子が覚醒したりとか
Ah, or it could be that a sleeping gene gets awakened.
封印されていた能力やら記憶やらが戻ったり。
Or maybe a seal power or memory returns. There's all kinds.
どういうわけか。あの時期はそういうのがやたらと流行るもんさ。
For some reason, stuff like that is really popular at that age. Okay, so I will say this. I really did kind of like the idea of like Naruto and like ninja stuff like that. And like sealed powers were like really cool because it was like, oh shit, like this can like actually like there's a power attached to this. Yeah, that's cool. But like horoscopes, no. So I see this here.
どうしてだ？
Why is that?
今挙げたキーワードはすべて子供の自分に知識や経験を直ちに付加できる幻想だからだよ。
All those examples you just mentioned are illusions that let children immediately add to their sum of knowledge and experience. I remember playing Narnia with friends when I was like 10. I've never seen Narnia or read Narnia.
9歳の女の子も1000年を生きた魔女が私に憑依していると言い出せば
If a 9-year-old girl says she has a 1,000-year-old witch possessing her,
1009歳のアイデンティティが得られるわけだからね。
then she gains a 1,009-year-old identity.
まあつまり勉強するのは面倒くさい。
So basically, studying is annoying.
でも人とは違うスキルを持って周りに威張りたい、ちやほやされたいっていう連中にとっては便利な妄想なんだよな。
But these delusions are convenient for people who want to brag about having a skill no one else has, amazing the people around them. So you could brag about something without having to work hard or study. I see. Isn't that a kid's greatest dream?
あとは子供からの脱却願望には必ず自分の理想像の自己投影が行われ
Furthermore, in their desire to separate themselves from being kids, they always project an image of them, their ideal self.
その願望の姿が別人格として形成されることが少なくない。
And it's not rare for that desire itself to become an alternate personality.
バトラ君だって家と学校では多少キャラクターが違うということがあるんじゃないかな。
Even you, Battler-kun, probably had a slightly different personality at home and at school, right? Basically, we ran around and pretended to be princesses. Okay.
多分家での自分の姿をクラスの友人たちに見せるのは恥ずかしいはずだよ。
I feel like that was like most girls did stuff like that.
学校の自分は自分のなりたい姿の投影で、家の自分は本来の姿だから。
It'd probably be embarrassing if your friends at school saw how you were at home. At school, you try to project yourself as you want to be, but home is where you're your true self.
つまりキャラクターの使い分けというか。
So in other words, I'm changing my personality depending on the situation. This is very interesting that this is the route that they're going here, considering that this is way more than that.
人格の多重化はごくごく当たり前だと言いたいわけか。
Are you trying to say having multiple personalities is actually really common? I mean, to a degree. I just don't think to the degree that we're seeing Maria become, you know, a witch.
オカルトが好きな女子はそれを憑依と言ったり覚醒と言ったりするぜ。
A girl who's a fan of the occult might say she's being possessed or awakened.
正直ドン引きするくらいにキャラを変える子もいるよ。
Honestly, there are some kids who change their personality so much it's creepy.
男子にもいるだろ。
And some boys do it too, right?
キレたとか言ってやたらめったら粗暴キャラに変身するやつが。
Guys who say they've blown their top and suddenly turn into some overplayed violent character.
あれ本人はかっこいいと思ってるんだろうけど見てて痛いよな。
I bet they think it's pretty cool, but it's painful to watch. This feels like one of those filler episodes of an anime. UMINEKO, from point to point, at least from my experience this far, will have like those filler moments. And for a moment, it feels like it feels completely irrelevant. But then somehow they tie it back and it becomes relevant later. So I feel like this comes back at some point to probably what is going to be Battler's reasoning and explanation for why he sees things a certain way. So yeah.
つまりおさらいするとだ。
Let's sum this all up.
マリアくらいの年頃の女の子がさっきみたいな不気味な二重人格みたいなのを見せても
Yeah, that's kind of the vibe I'm getting, where it's like everything has a meaning. It's just, well, I don't know if he'll use 10 words when 5 will do. I think in most cases we're seeing 50 words when 5 will do. But yes, I haven't run into a piece of dialogue thus far, or like writing, where I'm like, well, what was the point of that? I usually get my answer right away. Well, not right away. I'll usually get my answer fairly, close enough, or it's like, oh, I understand why we're talking about this. Okay, cool. Now I know this. Let's sum this all up. So you're saying that even if a girl about Maria's age shows a creepy second personality, also, well, B. Edwards, like she did a minute ago,
それほど珍しいものじゃない。
it isn't such a rare or unusual thing?
簡単にまとめるとそういうことだね。
Simply put, that's right.
アイデンティティは自己を形成するための大切なもの。
Identity is an important factor when building up one sense of self.
それをバカにしたりすると、かえってその殻に閉じこもってしまうこともある。
Not from the characters each arriving at the 20 billion yen figure just so they can use 20 billion yen as a shorthand later. If you make fun of it, it could actually cause children to go back into their shells.
だから、ほどほどに付き合ってあげるのが大切なんだよ。
So it's important to get along with them to some degree.
それを丸ごと受け入れてあげるのが親の包容力というものなんだけどね。
Although the broad-mindedness of the parent determines whether they play along in full or not.
兄貴、それで独身って信じられねえぜ。
Aniki, I can't believe you're single. Oh, Battler. Oh. Give me a minute. Oh no. Battler, why did you say that? Sorry, my water is still melting, and I went to go take a sip, and it was just a block of ice, so I went to go get a LaCroix. Alright.
もう子供が中学くらいに上がってそうな貫禄さ。
You're not making it better. He literally just... You sound like you've already raised kids through middle school. Imagine just saying this to somebody he just proposed to, accepted it, and then had to see dead.
じゃあローザおばさんもあのマリアのについてはよく知っていたのかな。
And so he's just like, oh, like George is still smiling. Like, how does George react to that? It just. So I wonder if Aunt Rosa also knew about Maria's dual personality. George, you gonna react, buddy? No. Okay. Just moving along. Just okay. Not gonna lie, UMINEKO, I was kind of expecting something there, and then you're just like, oh, we're good. She knew about it. Just between us, Aunt Rosa really hated it. She said it was unpleasant and that Maria was becoming increasingly isolated from the rest of the class. So anytime Maria started talking about the occult or laughing like a witch, she'd slap her. And it looks like Maria stopped talking that way in front of her. So that's interesting. So wait a minute. So Mario would talk like that. She knew about it, got mad at her, and then told her to stop talking like that. But then was also mad at her for doing the ooh. Jesus. Okay. Maybe that thing back there was just a little game from a girl facing her growing period. Just a girl trying to show that she was different and independent by holding interest in witches and the occult. And since she wanted to be different from herself, young as she was switching between her normal personality and the personality of her ideal, a witch. At first, I found that very disturbing. But after being lectured by George on the key, it felt like this was the path everyone walked at one time or another. I haven't told anyone, but when I was in kindergarten, I used to be I joined up with a little gang of kids trying to form an Earth Defense Force. That's actually funny. Saying we protect peace on Earth. My face turns red when I remember how during what we called battle practice, we would chant EDF, EDF. Okay, at least it's EDF. Just like usual, Mario was relaxing. Immersed in the TV, oohing and laughing just like any girl her age. But on the inside, another personality, like it's the erectile dysfunction force. Another personality, that of the ideal witch she respected and blindly accepted, was sleeping. But there wasn't anything extraordinary. It was perfectly natural for a girl of her age. I calmed down a little. Shock from my bizarre experience in the kitchen just now was fading away. If I hadn't talked to Aniki and Jessica, I might still be frightened by the idea that an invisible witch is standing right behind me. Yeah, I guess that is something to still talk about, isn't it? However, can I really accept that as an explanation for what happened back there? If it had just been Maria, I could have explained it as fickle delusions of a growing girl. But Genji-san, Kanon-kun, Kumasawa-ba-chan had also been there. None of them had denied what Maria said. They silently accepted that Beatrice exists. Hey, Battler, if you see golden butterflies, you should follow them. Yeah. I'm starting to feel a little uneasy. Aunt Ava's position was that no 19th person existed. Okay, we're going over this again. That the crime was an inside job to the family quarrels. On the other hand, Aunt Nazi's position was that the culprit was hiding somewhere outside the mansion. So she rejected the possibility of an inside job and supported the idea that a 19th person existed. And in the kitchen, Maria and the servants had also supported the idea of a 19th person. But according to them, this 19th person isn't human. They said it was an invisible witch carrying out some mysterious plan. Is there a 19th person or not? They are really, 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 really hammering that home. And is the culprit human or a witch? For some reason, I couldn't just laugh off any of those possibilities. Not even the most ridiculous story about the witch. So,
Jessica.
I mean, the only person, right, that could possibly, but how would he wouldn't be able to do this alone though, right? Like, does drinking give him the ability to get the courage to just finally kill his family? Like, is that what's happening here? I don't know. No, I don't want an answer either. I'm thinking out loud. Jeez. This is... Why are they making me think this when I'm, like, so firmly in the corner of, like, yeah, of course there's a witch. Why would we even set this up if that was the case? I don't know. Jessica.
ベアトリーチェの話ってのは 俺の認識では森に子供たちが迷い込まないようにってんで作った。
All I know about the
大人
story
の
of the
脅
witch
し
is
話だっ
that
てことになってんだが、
the adults made it up to keep the kids too scared to enter the
この
forest.
屋敷じゃ違うのか？
But is the story different here in the mansion?
私もバトラと同じ意見だぜ。
I feel the same way you do, okay?
こんなのは子供に言うことを聞かせるために親が作った間抜けな怪談だと思ってる。
I think it was just a stupid ghost story that parents made up so their kids would listen to them.
でもそうだと口にはできない空気が屋敷内にあることは否めないな。
But I can't deny that the atmosphere inside the mansion makes it a little hard to say it out loud.
おじい様がベアトリーチェは存在すると公言されているからね。
After all, grandfather has proclaimed that Beatrice exists.
使用人たちは立場上それを疑えないし、
And because of their position, the servants can't doubt that.
クラウスおじさんたちもおじい様と喧嘩がしたいわけもないから、表向きは口を揃えてる。
Even Uncle Kraus and Aunt Nazi don't want to get into a fight with him, so on the surface they go along with it.
だから多分このお屋敷ではベアトリーチェの存在を疑うことはある種のタブーだと思うんだよ。
So it's probably fair to say that those doubting the existence of Beatrice is taboo to those who live and work in this mansion.
年に一度しか来ない僕たちと違ってね。
Unlike the rest of us who only come here once a year.
そうでしょ。
Is that right? Jessica took a deep breath in admiration. It looked like Aniki had guessed right.
ジョージ兄さんの言う通りだぜ。
It's just like you say.
みんな腹の中じゃ信じてるわけじゃない。
No one really believes it on the inside,
でも表向きはその存在を認めてる。
but on the outside they accept that she exists.
ほら、神様の存在を認めるようなそんな雰囲気だよ。
See, it's just like the way some people are about God.
実際にはいないことを知ってても、それを口に出して否定したら野暮みたいな空気だな。
Even if they know God doesn't exist, they feel like it'd be uncouth if they actually said it out loud. You know, that would, especially in the, in the 80s, that would be a very, very, very true statement. I would even say now, like, that's a pretty true statement about like it being uncouth to say something like that. Because there is like a level, I think at the very least, people should just be like respectful of like, okay, if you believe that like God exists, that like, okay, that's their belief. You don't have to like come out and be like, oh, well, that's ridiculous. How could you, if they believe in God, they can believe in God. And if you don't, you can also not believe. And I think that world can coexist together. And I think that the hesitancy to be like, and what she's saying here is that it's uncouth, is that I think that may come from it being that like, well, most people will believe in some form of like Christianity or like some sort of religion, so to then push against what is seen as like the normal, I mean, quite literally, in America we adapted back in the 50s to add on like under God to like the Pledge of Allegiance, and like everything is like constantly like under God, under God, under God, under God, which it's now getting a pushback against. But yeah, the idea of like coming out and just saying that, it's like, I don't know if it's frowned upon as the word, but like she said, it's like, it's uncouth. Like you wouldn't just out of nowhere just go to someone and just be like, yeah, God doesn't exist.
使用人たちの間ではどういうことになってんだ？
How do you think the servants feel about it?
やっぱり雇い主のじい様がいるって言ってんだから。
Are they just going along with it because grandfather, their employer, says that she exists?
さあ、
Well,
詳しくはわからないけど、
I don't really know the details.
使用人たちの間ではベアトリーチェの話はある種の怪談扱いになってるよ。
But between the servants, the story about Beatrice has been treated like a sort of ghost story.
ほら、昨日海岸でシャノンが話してくれたろ。
Oh God, I just thought about, she said ghost story, and do y'all remember that poorly dubbed anime ghost stories that gets memed a lot on YouTube. That's where my brain went. Well, I don't really know the details, but between the servants, the story about Beatrice. Sorry, remember yesterday when Shannon was talking to us down by the beach?
夜見回りをしている時、不気味な何かを見かけたとか、そういう話。
That story about how one night when she was doing the rounds in the mansion, she saw something unsettling. You spend too much time online. It's like popular meme that happened. It's not me spending too much time online. I just happen to know about it. Would I expect your everyday normal person to know about it? No, but I'm talking to an internet audience right now. You are currently online, sir. She did say something like that, didn't she? I mean, I know it, but that's because I have no. She did say something like that, didn't she? Back then, I thought she was just being really nice to help improve Maria's mood. But it felt like she was serious when she said it. That's right, she definitely said it. She definitely said the same kind of thing that Genji and the rest had all unanimously declared back in the kitchen.
他にも鬼火や輝く蝶々が舞っているのを見たという使用人も。
In addition, some servants have also seen will-o'-wisp and glittering butterflies dancing around. Yeah, remember when this was cute?
カノン君もそれらしいものを以前夜の見回りの時に見たことがあると言ってました。
Kanon-kun also saw something like that when he went patrolling one night.
あと最近ではお屋敷の中で深夜に不思議な足音をよく聞くと使用人の間で話題です。
You often hear servants talking about strange footsteps heard inside the mansion near midnight.
私たちは肖像画の中のベアトリーチェ様が姿を消してお屋敷の中を散歩しているんだろうと囁き合ってるんですよ。
We've whispered together that the Beatrice-sama in the portrait sometimes makes herself invisible and walks through the mansion.
ずいぶん前ですが私もそうかもしれない足音を夜の見回りの時に聞いたことがあります。
It happened a while ago, but even I have heard footsteps while patrolling at midnight that resembles these stories. That's right, she definitely said that. Exactly the same thing I had been told just now.
でも怯えることはないんですよ。
But there's nothing to be afraid of. I miss Shannon. I do too. I was looking forward to her being alive.
ベアトリーチェ様は親方様とは異なるもう一人のお屋敷の主です。
Beatrice-sama is another ruler of this mansion, separate from the master.
だから変に怯えたりしないで敬意を持っていれば決して悪いことはしないのだそうです。
So there's no need to be unnaturally afraid. If you respect her, I hear she won't do anything bad. Uh-oh, guess who fucked that one up?
ただし敬意を持たないと恐ろしいんだったね。
However, she can be quite terrifying if you don't respect her, right?
はい。
Correct.
私が勤めを始める直前に階段を転がり落ちて腰に大怪我をして辞めた方は
I've heard that just before I began working here.
ベアトリーチェ様のことを悪く言っていたそうです。
Someone who spoke badly about Beatrice-sama fell down the stairs and quit after receiving a large injury to their back.
だから使用人たちはベアトリーチェ様のお怒りに触れたのだろうと噂し合ったそうです。
Because of that, there was a rumor that between the servants that Beatrice-sama's anger had been brought down upon this person.
敬わないとお怒りに触れて怪我をする。
If you don't respect her, you'll suffer her wrath and get hurt.
つまり使用人たちにとってベアトリーチェって存在は
So the servants...
お稲荷さんにいたずらしたら
Oh, so to
お
the
狐
servants.
様のたたりがあるってくらいには信憑性があるわけだ。
Beatrice's existence is just as credible as the story that if you pull pranks on Inari-san, you receive Kitsune-sama's curse. Of course, even though everyone accepts that curses and the like don't exist in the modern era, people are still afraid and still have a little respect for them. You often see it when in the residential area, someone is building a house and they call a Shinto priest for a ceremony to honor the god of that plot of land. You might think it was just a big waste of time and money, but it is said that if the workers don't do that, a big accident will occur, so they never neglect to do it. You also hear about how if an Inari shrine is carelessly removed during a town replanting, there'd be a curse by Kitsune-sama. I think I might have read somewhere that when the occupying forces were trying to expand an airport, they tried to remove an Inari-san that was in the way, and the workers kept getting struck down by mysterious fevers. Even in modern cities like Tokyo, it wasn't rare to see modern buildings packed all around an old Inari shrine, leaving the shrine itself untouched. This wasn't limited to Japan. It's probably similar to how foreigners baptize babies. If I remember right, by Christian doctrine, okay, I'm curious, if unbaptized souls have even the slightest amount of sin, oh yes, that is correct. Yes, if you're unbaptized, you're going to hell. That's right. If you fucked up once and you're not baptized, you will go to hell. And that, yes, baptizing you is purifying your soul, and that you will be forgiven of your sins and you are going to heaven. That is 1000% correct. Yes. Putting water on a child's forehead doesn't do anything but make them cry. But if by doing just that, parents can prevent their children from going to hell, they'd happily go through with that ceremony. In short, even in this modern society of reason, we were still unable to throw away every trace of belief and fear. You could even say that we accept certain sorts of supernatural things through though in a passive way. Maybe the only difference on this island is that Beatrice is the object of that worship.
じゃあつまり
So in other words,
この島でとても人間技とは思えない何かが起こればそれはベアトリーチェの仕業だ。
if anything happens that doesn't seem explainable in human terms, it's called the work of Beatrice.
シャノンちゃんも言ってた気がするな。
I think Shannon-chan said it herself.
ちゃんと閉めたはずの窓や扉や鍵がもう一度見回りに来たら開いていたとか。
Windows and doors and locks that were tightly shut should be open the next time you went to check them.
消したはずの明かりがついていたり、つけたはずの明かりが消えていたりとか。
Lights that should have been on went out, and lights that should have been out were turned on.
で、確かジェシカは朝出かけようとしたらカバンが見つからないのもベアトリーチェの仕業だってふざけてたんだよね。
And if I remember, even Jessica was joking about it, saying it was also the work of Beatrice when she couldn't find her bag in the morning.
よく覚えてるな。
Your memory's pretty good.
普通なら妖精さんが隠したとでも言うところが、この島ではベアトリーチェがになるってだけの話だぜ。
Normally you'd say some little imps took them, but on this island it's Beatrice.
ま、そんなくだらない話さ。
Well, it's all pretty stupid though.
このお屋敷も築30年くらいになるそうだからね。
This mansion has been standing for about 30 years by now, hasn't it?
それだけになれば多少の怪談やオカルトは生まれてくるものだよ。
It's natural for things that old to get their fair share of ghosts and occult stories.
学校の七不思議なんかのようにね。
Meanwhile, every time Shannon gets mentioned, George slowly loses his mind. It is kind of crazy that he is no longer reacting to it. I mean, I get it. He's supposed to be like the grown up, but like I'm still kind of like, like the 7 mysteries at a school.
そこで
But that's where I'll
チェス盤をひっくり返すぜ。
spin the chessboard around. That's his catchphrase now. He's spinning the chessboard. Huh?
つまりこの島では人間にはできないことはベアトリーチェの仕業と置き換えることができるルールがあるってわけだ。
Simply put, on this island, there's a rule that Beatrice gets blamed for anything that couldn't have been done by humans. Okay?
人間にはできないこと。
Things that humans can't do.
人間は何人だ？
This is his Joker moment. You keep cracking at the wall and soon it'll break. I don't think this is his Joker moment, no. You're giving him way too much credit. How many humans are here?
18人だ。
18.
つまり犯人はこの島のルールにのっとってこの事件は魔女の仕業だとアピールしてることになる。
In other words, the culprit is using the rules of this island to make it look like a witch committed this crime.
つまりそれは19人目の仕業ですよと訴えたくて仕方がないわけだ。
Which proves that they desperately want us to think a 19th person did it.
気に入らねえぜ。
I don't like it.
全然気に入らね
I don't like it one bit. Okay, never mind. Maybe you're onto something, Goose.
気に入らないって何がだよ。
What do you mean you don't like it?
え。仮に不可視の19人目が存在してそいつが自分の存在をアピールしたいなら
Let's assume some invisible 19th person exists and wants people to know they exist.
俺ならもっと完璧なタイミングでやるぜ。
If it were me, I'd do it with even more perfect timing.
完璧なタイミングでってのはどういう意味だい？
What do you mean by perfect timing? Yeah, you lost me here.
あ
Well,
あ。だって事件は深夜から未明にかけて起こったのは
the crime took place sometime between the middle of the night and dawn, right? Yeah.
深夜まで話し合いをしてたり夜勤をしてたりあるいは部屋に帰って寝ていたり
We had some people who were talking together until the middle of the night. Some people on night shifts and some people who returned to their dorms and were sleeping.
どいつもこいつもアリバイがあやふやで十分内部犯行が疑える段階だ。
Everyone's alibi is really vague, so there's plenty of room to suspect that the crime was an inside job.
ジョージの兄貴もエヴァおばさんに聞かされてるんだろ
George Aniki, Aunt Ava probably George Aniki, Aunt Ava probably told you too, right?
内部犯行の可能性が高いって話。
There's a good chance this crime was an inside job.
うん。
Yes,
まあね。
I guess.
つまり不可視の19人目が実在したなら最初の事件は自分のアピールに失敗してるんだ。
In other words, if this invisible 19th person really exists and wants to let us know, this crime was a complete failure. Oh, if this invisible 19th person really exists and wants to let us know, this first crime was a complete failure. Really?
あ、いや、そもそも時間帯がミステイクだ。
No, in the first place, they chose the wrong time of day to do it. I'm not following you here. I think you spun the chessboard a little too hard this time.
不可視の19人目をアピールするためには
If this invisible 19th person really wanted to show themselves,
死んだ6人以外の12人が
they had to make
全
sure
員白
that
で
the
あることが
crime
確定
took
している状況
place
下で行われなければならない。
under conditions which proved that the remaining 12 people were all innocent. Uh,
疑わしい人間がゼロにならなきゃ自分の存在をアピールできないんだよ。
I mean, sure, as long as there's a single human we can suspect, the 19 person's attempt to highlight their presence fails.
だから全員のアリバイが一番あやふやになる深夜の時間帯は
That's why near midnight, when everyone's alibis are at their vaguest,
19人目にとって自分が一番あやふやになる時間帯でもある
the 19 person's existence is also at its vaguest.
にもかかわらずその時間を選んで犯行に及んだ。
And yet the culprit chose to commit the crime at that time.
そんな時間に犯行を起こせば18人の誰かが疑われるのは明白。
By committing the crime then, one of the 18 would obviously be suspected.
にもかかわらずマリアに手紙を渡して魔女を名乗り誰もが自分でないと否定している。
And yet someone handed Maria a letter and called themselves a witch, even though everyone else denies they did it.
つまりベアトリーチェという19人目がいるように見せかけたい人間が18人の中にいると
In other words, you're
こう
trying to
言い
say...
たいのかよ。
In other words, you're trying to say that one of the 18 is trying to make it look like a 19th person called Beatrice exists?
なんだかぶっ飛んだ発想だな。
It's a pretty crazy idea.
まだお袋の屋敷の外に不審者が潜んでいるって話の方が信憑性があるってもんだぜ。
I think Mom's theory about someone hiding outside the mansion is a bit more credible.
まさかバトラはこの客間の中に犯人がいると疑っているのかよ。
Battler, don't tell me you actually think someone in this room is the culprit.
あ
I do.
あ、何者かが俺たちにベアトリーチェが存在すると。
Someone's trying to force us to accept that Beatrice exists. Okay. All right. Yeah. I'll let it ride out.
そうさ。昨夜のあの手紙からもう事件は始まっていたんだ。
That's right. This whole thing started as far back as the letter last night.
証拠も根拠も何もねえけどな。
It's really weird. This is kind of one of the first times I played a visual novel where they're like, there could be another person here, and I'm kind of like, yeah, I hope there is. I think in most cases I'm like, no, this is bullshit. But here I'm kind of like, yeah, no, please, let there be. I don't have any basis or proof.
鉄板を逆さにした限りじゃ俺の見立てはこんなところだ。
But with the chessboard turned around, this is my best guess.
飛びまくってるにも程があるぜ。
Seriously, that's too crazy.
妙な推理小説の読みすぎじゃねえのかよ。
You sure you haven't been reading too many weird detective novels?
でも無視できない着眼点もあるね。
But it's an angle we can't ignore.
19人目がいるかいないかは別にしても、
Whether there's a 19 person or not.
その犯人は確実にこの島のルールにのっとって何かを仕掛けてきている。
The culprit's definitely planning something involving that rule about this island.
僕はね、今バトラ君の話を聞いていて少しだけ気持ち悪いことを思い出してたんだよ。
Just now, listening to Battler-kun talk, I remembered something that's a little disturbing.
気持ち悪いことって？
Something disturbing? Yes.
覚えてるかい？
Do you remember?
ベアトリーチェの手紙。
Beatrice's letter.
ベアトリーチェは利子の回収を行うと言っていたね。
It said that Beatrice was going to collect interest.
そして利子とは後宮家のすべてだと言った。
And by interest, it mentioned everything of the Ushiromiya family. Jessica and I thought back on what Maria had read out loud the previous night.
言ってたぜ。
Also, just a totally normal thing to say. If I did it, honestly, though, there might be some real juice to his theory. Yeah, I don't know yet. I guess it's also because, like, I'm in the I want to believe territory, but...
確かに言ってた。
Yeah, it said that. It definitely said that.
そして利子の回収をこれから行うが、黄金の謎を解いたらその権利を失うとも言ってたよな。
That the collection of the interest was going to take place shortly, but if the riddle of the gold could be solved, she'd lose that right.
おじい様は黄金を授かり、後宮家を再興した。
If I did it, yeah, you made a no J joke. I got it. I did get it. Yes. Grandfather received the gold and rebuilt the Ushiromiya family.
つまり黄金を資本に生み出したものすべてが利子だってベアトリーチェは言っている。
In other words, according to Beatrice, everything created using the gold as capital counts as part of the interest.
つまり
Which means
冗談きついぜ兄貴。
that's a pretty scary. It's pretty scary for a joke, Anaki.
まさか後宮家のすべて。
You don't mean everything of the Ushiromiya family.
つまりじい様が生み出したものすべてってことは。
In other words, everything that grandfather gave birth to.
じい様から血を分けた一族のことを指すってのかよ。
In other words, everyone with grandfather's blood flowing through their veins.
あの手紙をそう読み解いたなら、
If you interpret the letter that way.
この殺人はベアトリーチェが行った正当な利子の回収ということになる。
These murders are just Beatrice legitimately collecting interest.
となれば、 この事件はまだ続くよ。
If that's the case, these crimes will continue.
利子の回収はまだ途中なんだからね。
Because the collection of interest is still only halfway completed. George turned around, looking over the parlor. There's so many people who held the name Ushiromiya. And because Goda-san and Shanan-chan had been killed, we knew that not even the servants were safe despite lacking the Ushiromiya name. See, okay, now that line of thinking I was on with for a minute until I had to remember Goda. Goda is where I threw that out of the window because Shannon, you could have made the argument, just got engaged to an Ushiromiya. So she would have had the name. So yeah, I had to throw that out of the window because of that.
私たち
So are they planning
全員を殺すつもりかよ。
to kill us all?
でもおかしいよジョージ兄さん。
But that's weird, George Nissan. I mean, well, murder.
ならどうして6人だけ？
In that case, why only 6 people?
他に大勢殺せたはず。
They should have been able to kill a lot more.
下手をすれば寝込みを襲って全員を一晩で殺すことも可能だったはず。
It should have been possible for them to assault everyone while they were sleeping and kill them in a single night.
どうしてそれをしなかったの？
Why didn't they do that?
特別条項だよ。
The special clause.
黄金の謎を暴く者が現れたら利子の権利は失われる。
If someone manages to solve the riddle of the gold, their right to the interest will be lost.
そして手紙の最後にはこう結ばれていたはずだよ。
And remember how the letter ended.
おじい様の黄金の謎をみんなで解いてみろとね。
It challenged us all to solve the riddle of grandfather's gold.
Jesus!
Jesus can't help you here. It's a very, very popular phrase here on this channel. That man can't help you here.
ようやく犯人のメッセージが分かってきたじゃねえか。
Looks like we're finally understanding the culprit's message.
つまり犯人は俺たちにじい様のあの碑文の謎を解いてみやがると言ってるわけだ。
In other words, the culprit's trying to tell us and solve the riddle, trying to tell us and, what? In other words, the culprit's telling us to try and solve the riddle on that epitaph grandfather had made.
しかもぼやぼやしてればどんどん利子の回収を進めちまうつもりだ。
On top of that, they're saying that if we just sit around, they'll keep collecting the interest. I realize this is all based on several guesses that are way out there. Yeah. But not everything that happens in this world fits together in a perfect line. Most of the events we don't understand are only individual points. By fitting them into a straight line, we're beginning to understand. When the points are either end of the line or when the points at either end of the line are really close, the line itself is more logical and easier to understand. And those points are really far away, the opposite is true. So what does that thing say will happen on night 2? Yeah, we can review. I believe on night 2 there's supposed to be one more death. Those who remain shall tear apart the two who are close. Ah, yes, there we go. So that's next. He was just passing out Hello Fresh meals at his own. As his own. Oh, passing off Hello Fresh meals. I see. Second twilight, those who remain shall tear apart the two who are close. The third twilight, those who remain shall praise my noble name. The fourth night, gouge the head and kill. Fifth night, gouge the chest and kill. Sixth night, gouge the stomach and kill. Gouge the knee and kill. Gouge the leg and kill. The witch shall revive, and none shall be left alive. 10th night, journey's end, you shall attain the power of the Golden Land's treasure once and for the last time. The witch shall praise the wise and bestow 4 treasures. One shall be all the gold from the golden land. One shall be the resurrection of all the dead souls. One shall be the resurrection of the love that was lost. One shall be to put the witch to sleep for all time. So I'm wondering if this is referring to George and Shauna. But wouldn't that also just be incorporated here? What are we determining souls as? Souls is kind of important here. Because I feel like that word means more than just... So, Those who remain shall tear apart the two who are close. The two who are close. These two are close right now. I wouldn't call them close. So it's probably going to either be them. And I mean, they're in a way. So right now it's pointed to these two. And to be fair, I think these two should have been dead. Well, at least she should have been dead. Hideyoshi didn't really do anything. It's the distance between these points that makes us say our guesses are way out there. However, if the distance we span are too narrow, that means our thinking will be narrow too. Is there a difference between making guesses and reasoning? Yes, but they can both. Both are needed though. Am I just using easily made guesses to try and force this crime into a pattern I can understand? No, that's not it. When you're lost in the dark and searching around with your hands, when the darkness turns to light, when you're doing what you're doing is relying on your imagination and making guesses. Only imagination can find the points that need to be tied together. Reasoning is nothing more than the act of drawing lines between them. If you can't imagine, you can't reason. I agree with that. What I'm doing now might be way out there, but I'm sure it isn't a mistake either. Only the power of imagination can pull clues from the darkness. And then I can use the power of reasoning to tie those clues together. It's a lot like the process of searching out an enemy's weak spot and striking. It's okay if I'm way out there. Find a weak point first. Then we can think about how to strike. Right now is the time to find points we can tie together later. For the time being, I put aside whether a 19th person existed. And announce our theory that the goal of the culprit might have been to make us solve the riddle of the epitaph. Uncle Hideyoshi seemed to be extremely interested, but Aunt Natsuhi said it was ridiculous and dismissed it.
確かに
Of course.
そう考えるとあの怪しい手紙も納得がいくっていうもんや
If you think about it that way, even that letter from yesterday makes sense.
その動機はなかなかええ線をいっとると思うで
That motive seems to fit pretty well with the facts.
マリアちゃんに手紙を渡したのが誰かはさておきな
Setting aside whoever it was that gave Maria-chan the letter. Uh-oh, don't get her started.
ベアトリーチェはいる
Beatrice exists. Ooh. Even though she was puffing up her cheeks in that cute way she's been doing since yesterday, I couldn't think of it as cute. I poked fun at her. It might suddenly transform into a creepy laugh. Yeah, I can't look at her the same way anymore.
隠し黄金など存在しません
There is no hidden
で
gold.
すがその存在を盲信する犯人がお父様の黄金を目当てで
There is no hidden gold. However, if the culprit is blindly sure of its
そ
existence,
れを私たちに解かせて横領を企んでいるという動機はなるほどと頷けるものがあります
and if they're trying to make us solve the riddle before snatching the gold away from themselves, then I will agree it makes sense. So Ava and Painted On Mustache Man will be separate. Painted On Mustache Man.
しかしならばなぜ後宮家の主要な人物ばかりを最初に殺したのです
However, if that were the case, why would they start by killing those most highly ranked in the Ushiromiya family?
道理ですな。
I see your point.
謎を解かせるなら、金蔵さんに近しい人物を先に殺すことは得策ではないはずです。
If they wanted to make us solve the riddle, killing those closest to Kinzo-san doesn't sound like a good plan to me.
そうね。
That's true enough.
それにその論法で行くんだったら最初にお父様を脅迫した方が早くない？
And if we're going with that argument, wouldn't it have been quicker to threaten father in the first place?
私たちに謎を解かせるよりも本人に答えを聞いた方が早いはずよ。
You think it'd be faster to just ask the person who wrote it rather than trying to force us to solve it?
確かにその通りや。
You got a point there.
もっともお父さんが並大抵の脅迫で口を割るとは思えんが。
Still, I think it'd take more than your average threat to make father spill the beans.
金蔵さんをよく知る方なら、金蔵さんが並大抵の脅しには屈しないことをよく存じているでしょう。
Anyone who knows Kinzo-san would probably realize that he won't bow to ordinary threats.
これだけの財産を持つ後ろ宮家を背負われる方です。
He's the man who bears responsibility for the Ushiromiya family and all its vast wealth.
今日まで様々な攻撃や脅迫にさらされてきました。
He's been exposed to many threats and attacks in the past.
それらすべてに打ち勝ってきたからこそ今日の繁栄があるのです。
The family only prospers today because he was able to overcome all of them.
それに関しては私も同感だぜ。
That's freaking right.
うちのじい様が脅されて何かに従うなんてちょっと想像もつかないぜ。
I can't even imagine our grandfather obeying someone because of a threat.
ジェシカ、言葉遣いがはしたないです。
Whoa. Oh, right, because she doesn't like it when she wants her to speak properly. That's right. Jessica, watch your language.
はい。
Yes, Mom.
ならこういう発想はどうだろう。
In that case, what about this? I just love we cannot stop trying to solve this thing.
いや、これもぶっ飛んでるか。
No, wait. Is this one also way out there? I couldn't hesitate. Other ideas are like bows and arrows. It might be hard to hit with, but it's a great weapon because you can hit enemies far away. They say most people who died in battles were killed by arrow wounds. And in a battle, you can't just shoot off one arrow. You shoot a whole bunch of arrows at once, pushing forwards towards the enemy troops with a wall of them. So keep shooting over and over. Create a wall as you push forward towards the truth.
犯人が隠された黄金が狙いってんなら、俺たちに解かせるのは効率が悪い。
If the hidden goal, if the culprit is after the hidden goal, forcing us to solve the riddle wouldn't be very efficient for them. Okay, all right, I'm following.
謎を作った本人に答えを聞く方が手っ取り早いさ。
It'd be much quicker and easier to ask the person who made it in the first place. Okay, I'm not following anymore.
じゃあさ、これはつまり。
In that case, the question is,
すべてじい様に当てたメッセージってことじゃないのか。
is this all a message directed at grandfather? In other words, these murderers made a threat. Were a threat made against grandfather. If he didn't tell the culprit where the gold was, his family members would be killed off one by one. No. I mean, I understand the reasoning here, but what if we weren't the only ones being forced to solve this riddle? What if grandfather was too? If you think about it that way, it explains grandfather's mysterious disappearance. The culprit has already attacked grandfather, then judging by the state the 6 corpses were left in, he should have been left on display somewhere with that horrible makeup added. Okay, okay, all right. I'm following your logic. But despite that, we still haven't found him. So does that mean grandfather has been kidnapped and is being held somewhere?
そんな、
How could
まさかそんな。
you aren't saying how could Alright, stop your laughing.
面白い話じゃない？
That sounds interesting.
つまりお父様はどこかに監禁されていて
So grandfather's being confined somewhere.
黄金のありかを話さないと次々に殺人を繰り返すぞ。
And the
脅されているわけ
And the culprit's saying we'll be killed off one by one if he doesn't, if he doesn't tell them where the gold is.
その話のどこが面白いのか理解に苦しみます。
It pains me to imagine how you find that interesting. Aunt Nazi glared at her, but Aunt Ava just smiled calmly.
この時間になっても姿を現さない以上、おじい様が事件に巻き込まれているのはほぼ間違いないと思います。
Since we still haven't seen him after all this time, I think it's almost certain that grandfather's gotten caught up in a crime.
それを思えば、バトラ君の仮説も無視することはできないんじゃないですか。
If you think about it, you can't just ignore Battler-kun's theory, right?
ジョージは黙ってなさい。
Be quiet, George.
そもそもお父様っていついなくなったのかしら？
In the first place, when did father actually disappear? Because we saw him this morning.
最後にお父さんの姿を見たのは誰や？
Who was the last person to see father?
多分私でしょう。
It was probably me.
今朝主人たちの姿が見えないと騒ぎになった時、
The morning when we didn't know where my husband and the rest were, we discussed the possibility of them being in father's study.
私がお部屋にお伺いしてそこでご挨拶をしました。
And I went to check his room and greeted him there.
そういえば書斎の鍵をずっと借りっぱなしですね。
And I went to check his room and, oh sorry, come to think of it, I've been holding the key to his study this whole time, haven't I? That is correct.
源氏、これは返しておきます。
Genji, let me return this to you. Natsuki pulled out the golden key and handed it to Genji. Looking at the key, Aunt Ava giggled.
ねえ源氏さん、
Hey, Genji-san.
どうせ警察はお父様の部屋も徹底的に捜査すると思うわ。
I'm sure the police will inspect father's room thoroughly.
何を隠していてもどうせ暴かれちゃう。
If there's anything hidden there, it'll just be exposed anyway.
だったらちょっと早く今この場で話してくれてもいいんじゃないかしら。
So maybe it'd be better if you just told us about it right here, right now.
何のお話でしょうか？
What are you talking about?
シンプルな話よ。
It's simple.
お父様の書斎はその鍵がなければ外から入ることはできない密室よ。
Father's study is a closed room with no way in or out except for that key, right?
その定義の確認をしたいの。
I want to verify whether that's true.
お父様の部屋には入り口が一つある。
There is one entrance to father's
あ
study.
とは窓？
What about the window? Well, I mean, yeah, a window can be an entrance if you try hard enough.
他に出入り口は？
Any other entrances or exits?
ありません。
There are none.
中に入るには入り口しかありません。
There was no way to get in except that entrance.
間違いなくね。
You sure about that?
秘密の隠し扉なんかがあったりはしないのね。
There isn't some secret hidden door or anything.
お父様が不在である以上、後宮家の最高序列者は私よ。
Since father isn't here, I am the highest ranked member of the Ushiromiya family.
その後宮家の当主代行として聞いているの。
I am asking you as a representative of the Ushiromiya family head.
それを理解した上で答えなさい。
Remember that when you answer me. Ooh.
あの部屋には入り口以外に他に出入り
She's
口は？
spicy now. Are there any ways in or out of that room other than the main entrance?
お父様の最高の側近だったあなたは知っているはずよ。
As father's closest aide, I'm sure you would know. Natsuki looked a little offended at the part about the highest ranked family member. But she kept her mouth closed for the time being and waited for Genji's answer. I couldn't help but feel a little uncomfortable. Why was she going on and on about hidden doors?
カノン君も熊沢さんも知ってるなら教えてくれない？
You too, Kanon-kun and Kumasawa-san. If you know, won't you tell me?
あるならあるって言ってくれた方がいいの。
If there is one, it be better if you said so.
じゃないと今からある人がとても追い詰められることになるわよ。
Otherwise, a certain person might be driven into a corner in a second.
隠し扉があると仮定されたら、私の話はすべて水の泡。
If we assume that there is a hidden door, then my argument comes to nothing. Aneva didn't specify which person was about to be driven into a corner, but following the flow of the conversation, I had to feel that she was referring to Aunt Nazi. Yep.
母さん、何の話？
I don't want to wait until tomorrow. Can we just yeet Eva now? Unfortunately, them's not the rules. Them's not the rules. Mother, what are you talking about?
ジョージは少し黙ってなさい。
George, stay quiet for a bit.
どうなの？
What do you say?
源氏さん、
Genji-san,
カノン君、
Kanon-kun,
そして熊沢さん。
or Kumasawa-san.
隠し扉はあるの？
Is there a hidden door?
ないの？
Or not?
源氏さんはお父様が書斎を改造した時、施工業者の監督をしていたはず。
Genji-san, when you remodeled father's study, you must have overseen the construction.
知らないとは言わせないわよ。
I won't let you say you don't know.
そのようなものは親方様の書斎にはありません。
There was nothing like that in Master's study.
間違いなく
You sure?
片翼の場所を許されたカノン君。
What about Kanon-kun, one who's allowed to wear the one-winged eagle?
はい、
That's right.
間違いなく
I'm sure.
親方様の書斎に隠し扉などありません。
There is no such hidden door in the Master's study.
熊沢さんは
Kumasawa-san?
いえ、私も聞いたことがありませんよ。
So there isn't a hidden but wasn't there a thing where he was able to like press a button on the table and it flipped around and then he was able to like get access to his liquor, right? There was something.
お父様と親交の深い南條先生は
How about you? What about you, Dr. Nanjo? You've had a close relationship with father. Am I malfunctioning? No, I am not.
私もそんなものは聞いたことがありませんな。
I've never heard of something like that.
結構。
Very well then.
じゃあいい？
So, are you ready?
話を始めるわよ。
Let me begin.
とってもシンプルな話なの。
It's very simple. Everyone tilted their head doubtfully, wondering what Aunt Ava was starting to talk so proudly. Talk about so proudly. Aunt Ava laughed triumphantly as though she were about to reveal a secret only she knew.
お父様を最後に目撃したのは夏日姉さんよね。
Natsuki Ne-san was the last person to spot father, right? Hello, Elmers. What's going on, son? How are you? How have you been? Welcome on in. Thank you so much for the raid. Welcome in, Raiders. We are in the middle of a murder mystery. Let's call it here with UMINEKO. How was the stream? What'd you stream today? What's been going on with you? Anything new?
詳しい時間は忘れちゃったけど、今朝の9時前くらいのことだと思ったわ。
Yeah, what's going on, Elmers? How have you been? I forgot the exact time, but I think it was a little before 9 o'clock in the morning. That sounds right.
姉さん、覚えてる？
Ne-san, don't you remember?
Okay, motherfucker, let's do this!
You are my dad and I love you.
Yes, son. I love you too, Elmers. Thank you so much for the tier 1 sub for 59 months. Holy cow. Yeah, what were you what'd you stream today? How have you been? I haven't heard from you in a hot minute. That's been good. Ooh, I love the avatar. Yeah, I configured this so that I don't have to do as much, you know, setting up for stream anymore. I can just kind of go. So the VTuber setup has been very nice. And yes, Goose, thank you so much for giving the toast to Elmers, who is Yes, my Twitch son. And yes, if you would want a good streamer to go ahead and drop Elmer's a follow. Life's been good. Good. Ane-san, do you remember?
私あなたがお父様の書斎からちょうど出てくるところに出くわしたわよね。
Dark Spectre, what's going on? Stream Death Rebuild on Madden as per usual. Oh, I didn't know that you're still doing that. Finish off the regular season. I hate that I think sometimes I inspired very bad ideas. But I hope it's fun for you. Sometimes I want to throw things at your PNG. Well, I mean, maybe one day I'll add a thing where you can actually do that. Maybe I can put something like that into the works. I just ran into you as you were coming out of Father's study, right?
覚えています。
Yes, I remember.
それが何だというのですか？
What does that have to do with anything?
そして次に姉さんがお父様の書斎を訪れたのは
And when was the next time you went to visit Father's study?
兄さんたちの遺体が見つかってからよね。
That was right after we found the bodies of Nissan and the rest, right? That is correct.
それを報告しに書斎に上がり、そこで私と一緒に不在を確認したわ。
Together with me, you went up to the study to report that, and we discovered he wasn't there.
ところで姉さん。
By the way, Nissan.
その時、お父様の書斎に入ろうとして。
At that time, when you went to enter Father's study, did you notice anything? We're going in the playoffs? Nice. And yeah, it's been very fun. The struggle against Madden is somehow fun. Maybe super deep down, I'm a masochist. I went through my masochist phase, and I think I no longer wanted to. Well, let me not say that. Once in a while, once I see a challenge, I do want to do it. But I think, like, in terms of, like, anything like that, I think that masochist side of me is I got it out of me like 5 years ago. Thankfully. 5 years ago? 4 years ago? I can't remember how long ago Joker's Threshold was. At that time, when you went to the inner father study, did you notice anything?
気づいたこと？
Notice anything?
何のことですか？
What are you talking about?
ほら。
Come on.
ゴミを拾ったでしょ。
You picked up some trash, right?
畳んだレシート。
A folded receipt.
確かにそんなゴミを拾った気がします。
I do seem to remember picking up some trash, okay?
それが何か？
How is that relevant?
そのレシートは私が飛行場に着く前に寄った売店で飴玉を買った時にもらったものよ。
I got that receipt when I bought some candy at a store before arriving at the airport. Eva pulled a small bag of candy out of her handbag.
ああ、あの時に買った飴のレシート。
Ah, the receipt from that candy you brought back there.
でも母さん、そのレシートの話が何と関係あるの？
Wait, how did her receipt get in there then?
ジョージ、もうちょい黙って聞いとってや。
Damn, like let my boy George ask some questions here. This is like my son Elmer's. This is like, hey, let him ask questions. He wants to learn. Uncle Hideyoshi's expression was a little strict. Apparently, he understood what Aunt Eva was getting at.
本当にこれは気まぐれよ。
It really was just a whim.
何かを予見してたとか。
I definitely didn't foresee anything.
ましてや夏日姉さんを罠にかけようとか。
Or try to set up a trap for Natsuhine-san or anything like that.
実はね、そのレシート。
Actually, about that receipt.
姉さんがお父様と最後に会って出てきてそこで私と会ったでしょ。
Nei-san, you remember bumping into me right after the last time you saw father, right?
その時、書斎の扉に私が挟み込んだものなのよ。
At that time, I wedged this into the door of the study. To the study.
ってことはどういうことですか？
So, what does that mean? Oh, okay. I think I know. Okay, never mind. That's not where she's going. Okay, here.
つまり夏日おばさんがそのレシートを拾うまで
Are you saying that
誰もドアを開けていない？
no one opened the door until Aunt Natsuhi picked up that receipt?
ちょっと待ってよ、エヴァおばさん。
Wait a second, Aunt Eva.
レシート挟むなんてバレバレだって。
Wedging a receipt in would be obvious.
小さまが外出した時に気づいて面白がってもう一回挟み直した可能性も。
Holy shit, 2018? We're gonna be celebrating 6 years of that in like a few months. My God. I guess that was before COVID, wasn't it? Wow, November 12th, 2018. Wait a second, Aunt Ava. Wedging a receipt in the door would be obvious. It's possible that when grandfather opened the door, he noticed it, found it amusing, and stuck it back in the door. Jessica hurriedly argued back. She still didn't really know what this all meant, but she realized that whatever it was, it would raise suspicions about her own mother. Of course, I folded the receipt up very small so that no one would notice it.
レシートが落ちるところを仮に見たとしても、扉のどこの高さの部分に挟み込んであったかは正確にはわかんないんじゃない?
But even if you assume that he saw it fall, he would have no way of knowing how high up the door it had been stuck, right?
私は夏日姉さんが鍵を取り出している間に確認したわ。
I checked it while Natsuhi-san was taking the key out. Okay, I gotta say right now, Ava is insanely conniving, right? Like what is this shit? This is before we even found out that like there were deaths. That she's just out here like, I'm gonna put this receipt of paper up here and I'm gonna find out who went up here, who's been doing things, right? Like that's insane. This wasn't even to catch like a killer. This was to catch something else. Your first Discord stream announcement of it says it begins today was my reference. Ah, okay. Then that makes sense.
レシートが挟み込まれた位置は寸分の1ミリの違いもなく私が挟んだ場所だった。
The receipt was still stuck not 1 millimeter away from where I put it.
なぜそんな子供じみたいたずらをされるのか理解できません。
Yeah, I'm not understanding that part either. I can't understand why you would pull such a childish prank. Moonlit Clovers, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome on in. I can't understand why you would pull such a childish prank.
私の部屋の扉にいたずらをしたのもあなたでしょう。
I'll bet you were the one who did that prank on the door to my room too.
夏日さんの部屋の扉?
The door to your room?
不愉快な話だったので話しませんでしたが。
It was unpleasant to talk about, so I never
今
mentioned
朝目
it.
が覚めたら扉の外側にあのシャッターの落書きと同じと思われる赤い塗料で。
But when I woke up this morning, there were signs of some prank on the outside of my door with whatever was probably the same red paint that was scribbled across the shutter.
かきむしったような気持ちの悪い跡で。
There were some unpleasant marks as though someone had been tearing at my door. What? Wait, what is this? Why'd you keep quiet about this till now?
申し訳ありません。
My apologies.
あの後、立て続けにいろいろと恐ろしいことが起こったため。
Since so many horrible things have occurred since then, I had completely forgotten about it until this moment.
知らないわよそんなの。
I don't know anything about that.
私がしてるのは姉さんの部屋じゃなくてお父様の部屋の扉の話よ。
I'm not talking about your door, but the door to Father's room, right?
姉さんがお父様がいるのを確認してから私と一緒に不在を確認するまでの間
Between the time you confirmed that he was in his room and the time we confirmed that he wasn't, that door wasn't opened even once.
扉を使わずどうやってお父様は外に出たのかしら
How did Father get out if he didn't use the door?
そんなことは知りません。
I don't know that.
私が知りたいくらいです。
That's what I want to know.
夏日姉さんの他にお父さんの在室を確認したのは誰や?
Natsuine-san, other than you, who else checked to see whether Father was in his room? Nancho?
金蔵さんとチェスをしたのがあった最後ですな。
Last night, the last time I met King Kinzo was when we were playing chess. That was back when you said you would start with the Jokers and then switch to Danganronpa 2? Oh my god, I'm an insane person. I did that and then would stream Danganronpa right afterwards. No wonder I was so salty during some of those streams. It makes a lot of sense now. My god, that means like, yeah, that's right. Back then I was streaming like a madman. Like I would stream like 5, 6, 7 hours off the rip like it was nothing. I cannot do that anymore. My god. Oh, that 4 hours of Jokers and then Danganronpa 2. My, what was wrong with me? Last night, the last time I met with Kinzo-san was when we were playing chess.
夕食の直前までご一緒だったはずです。
So I was with him until just before dinner.
それより後の時間は誰かおらんのか?
Who saw him after that?
私です。
I did.
昨夜の晩餐のお世話をしております。
I gave him his dinner last night.
はい。
Yes.
僕とシャノンも一緒でした。
Shannon and I were with him.
ここまでは間違いなくお父さんも部屋にいたやろな。
So at that time, father was still definitely in his room.
だがな、夏日姉さん。
However, Natsuhine-san.
不在だった書斎は窓も扉もすべて閉め切られた状態だったそうやないか。
When you found out he wasn't there, it looks like all ways in or out of the study were closed, right?
なのに夏日さんは今朝お父さんに会って話をした言うと。
But even so, you said you met with him this morning.
私には皆さんが何を険悪になっているのかわかりません。
I don't understand why everyone has become so gloomy.
どなたか説明してくださいますかな。
Could someone please explain it to me?
父さんと母さんは
Father and mother.
夏日おばさんが今朝おじい様に会ったというのは
Are you saying that what Natsuhi says about meeting grandfather this morning
嘘だと言っているのかい?
was a lie? Yeah, because that's insane.
嘘なんかつくもんかよ。母さんは潔白だぜ。
Like hell she'd lie about that. Mom's guiltless.
なんで嘘なんかつくんだよ。
Why would she lie? Yeah, like why specifically that would she lie about that?
ジェシカ、
Jessica.
言葉遣いを直しなさいといつも言っています。
I keep telling you to watch your language. All at once, the whole room was in an uproar. Aunt Ava and Aunt Natsuhi confronted each other across the parlor table, with George confronting Jessica. What the heck's going on?
複数の人間の目撃があるのは昨晩までよ。
Many people spotted him last night, right?
でも今朝以降、お父様の姿を見たと称するのは夏日姉さんただ一人。
Okay, are they doing this to showcase everybody else's suspicion? Because right now this is the most insane argument thus far. But since this morning, the only one who claims to have seen father is Natsuhine-san's. I'm sure it's important to like the overall story, but where I thought they were going, where I thought she was going, she is not going. And the more I listen to this, the more I'm like, no, this is just insane talk. But since this morning, the only one who claims to have seen father is Natsuhine-san. And then there's that strange fact that we learned from my receipt.
この点と点はどうやれば結べるのかしら?
So, how can we connect these points together? Aunt Ava urged everyone to imagine it. Sure, that receipt could become an important point. But I didn't know which other points to tie it to or how. If we try searching for the answer Aunt Ava probably wants, we'll find that Aunt Nazi lied and acted as though grandfather was in the room this morning. Has that fact been exposed by a whim of Aunt Ava's? I don't get it at all. I don't get it either. Why would mom have to lie? She had no reason to, right?
その理由は私も知りたいわよ。
That's what I want to know.
でもね、ジェシカちゃん。
But Jessica-chan,
お父様の材質を偽る価値が全くないとは限らないのよ。
you can't be sure she had no reason to lie and say that grandfather was in that room.
推理小説でもたまに出てくるでしょ。
After all, you see it in mystery novels every now and then. That's why I'm confused by why this is being relayed, because we've already debunked that. Story-wise, we've debunked this. Like, they would hide that if this was the case.
生存時刻を偽ることによって自分のアリバイを偽証するトリックよ。
Or unless they're saying sometimes when we're seeing things from people's different people's perspectives, it's not true? I don't know anymore. That trick where people fake the time of death to create an alibi for themselves. What are you talking about? I've never heard of that.
お父様はまだ見つからないけれど、普通に考えればもう殺されていると考えるのが自然でしょうね。
We still haven't found father yet, but it's pretty natural to assume he's already been killed.
となれば必ず近いうちに死体は見つかる。
If that's true, there's no doubt we'll find his corpse soon.
その時、死亡時刻をうまく偽ることができれば、夏日姉さんはアリバイを作ることができるのよ。
If at that point the time of death could be cleverly faked, Nazi's son would be able to create an alibi.
わかる？
Do you understand?
みんな？
Everyone? This morning when Nazi confirmed that grandfather was there, she lied. And he was already dead at that time? And then she moved the body to some other location and tampered with it so that when we find it, we'll think he was just killed a second ago? But why? But like, why? That doesn't make sense. The doctor literally just gave a diagnosis of the corpses and said that rigor mortis set in. So we would know, like, okay, well then it wasn't immediate. The second Nanjo checks the body. That's silly. That make it possible for her to create an alibi even just by staying with the rest of us. Then she could say, I heard someone screaming. Dash over there and become the first one to find the body along with everyone else. Is that what Aniva's saying? Ridiculous. After all, detective novels are merely books for the purpose of entertainment. You can only think of such an indiscreet idea because you read them all the time. That's right. Yeah, thank you. That's exactly my point. Even if she did try to fake the time of death a little, all that would be blown away in an instant. Blown away in an instance once the police did their autopsy. Even like. That trick might have worked in the past, but do you really think that kind of trick would work in modern Japan? It doesn't make sense. You think so?
今朝、南條先生が亡くなった人たちの死体を見て、死亡時刻を曖昧に見積もられたわよ。
Ava, you're strengthening my point here. This morning when Dr. Nanjo looked at the corpses, he was only able to give a vague estimate of the time of death, right? You're strengthening my point, though.
検視結果は環境や個体差に非常に左右されやすい。
Autopsy reports are very easily affected by the environment and individual differences, okay?
数時間単位で誤差の出る非常にアバウトなものなのよ。
It's a very relative estimate with an uncertainty of several hours.
しかも困ったことに、警察の科学的な捜査は明日にならないとできない。
And unfortunately, the police's scientific investigation will have to wait until tomorrow, if they're even here tomorrow.
そこまでの正確な死亡時刻を測ることなんて、ジェシカちゃんの言う現代日本でもそうそう簡単なことじゃないのよ。
It wouldn't be easy to measure the correct time of death so accurately, even in modern Japan.
ねえ、南條先生。
Isn't that right, Dr. Nanjo?
検視は経験と勘の必要な非常に難しい作業です。
Examining a corpse is an extremely difficult task that requires both experience and instinct.
誤診率も非常に高いと聞いております。
I have heard that there is a very high chance of a mistake diagnosis.
確かにほんの数時間程度の誤差を出してしまうことは大いにあり得るでしょうな。
I imagine it is very possible for a misreading of just a few hours to occur. No, come on.
しかしアリバイの世界は数時間もあれば十分やで。
This is so far-fetched. However, for an alibi, that's more than enough.
古典のトリックとちゃう。
It's an old trick.
十分に通用するトリックなんや。
It's a trick that works well enough.
夏日姉さん。
夏日姉さん。
わしらあんたを疑いたいわけやないんやで。
It's not like we want to suspect you or anything, okay? We only spent the last 30 minutes going over this to completely not suspect you.
疑いとうないから潔白を示してほしいだけなんや。
We just want you to prove your innocence so that we don't have to suspect you. Oh, this bullshit.
何の潔白を示せというのですか?
Yeah, point that rifle at them. You deserve the right. What is this innocence you want me to prove?
今朝私は確
This morning I definitely met with father. Also, yeah, you're gonna fuck with the person with a rifle? And he told me to keep the one-winged eagle engraved in my heart. Are you denying that he said that too? Well, yeah, they're gonna easily deny that one. Are you kidding me? I will certainly not permit that. I will not let you. I won't let you deny that father said those words. Or maybe father's body won't appear anywhere. A person has to be missing for 7 years before they're officially dead.
余命残りわずかなお父様を7年も延命し、その財産を独占するにはなんともうまいやり方じゃない。
Wouldn't that be a clever way to extend father's nearly finished life another 7 years and keep all of his wealth for yourself? Okay. Okay, that makes a bit more sense, but still insane. Oh. Oh. Like I said, you're saying this is the woman with the rifle. Oh my god, that looks so awesome. Look at the way that, like, look at that. Like, it got, like, they cut out the actual, like, image so that it actually pops forward. That's so cool. I can't let you get away with saying that. I can't let you get away with saying anymore. I am Ushiromiya Natsu. Although I do not have the right to wear the one-winged eagle on my body, it is certainly engraved on my heart. Alright, Natsuhi, this is actually... okay, I don't think her intention was to actually, like, have this accusation stand. I think this was to push her here. I think this was actually the point of all of that. What do you think you're saying to the wife of Kraus, successor of the head, and the one who will act as such in his place?
Nani?
What's this? Yeah, this was Ava's gotcha. This is what she wanted. Are you gonna shoot me with that gun? Go ahead. Alright, I know this family has some of the creepiest people. Like, what the hell? Go ahead. If only you just shoot. You're just desperate because you can't think of a way out, right? Do it. Just try to obscure the truth of violence. Get him, Nazi. Yeah, that's what I want. I kind of wanted it. I wish she would shoot. She deserves it. It wasn't like Aunt Nazi had actually been holding that gun at the ready with and threatening anyone. But as she was egged on by Aunt Ava, she did hold it at the ready. Unsurprisingly, once things got to the stage, Jessica and Genji-san tried to stop her. Madam, please calm yourself. If Ava doesn't go next, I'm uninstalling. I have that feel too. Ava's gotta go, bruh. Mom, you aren't lying. So there's no reason for you to listen to this. Calm down, Natsuhi-san. All you gotta do is swear that father definitely wasn't in the room. All you gotta do now is swear that father definitely was in the room. Why are you getting so worked up now? Or why are you getting so worked up? What do you mean, why are you getting so worked up? That is correct. What do you mean that is correct? What an insane... insane game. Insane game. Natsuhi isn't lying. Shouldn't that be the end of it? It's just a prank, sis. Why are you so mad? The camera's right over there. Then I want you to explain. How did father manage to disappear from the room? Why would she know that? The window was closed tight from the inside. I mean, that man yeeted a ring. I mean, we don't know this part, but that man yeeted a ring out of that window. We don't know if he decided to do that or not. The same was true for the door, right? This morning, if you really met with father, and then you must explain how father disappeared from this unopenable door closed to room scenario. If you don't, that mean you're lying after all, right? Reminder that even though the study has a window, it's on the 3rd floor. Yeah, it is on the 3rd floor, which, I mean, that does throw away a lot, but it's like, I just like how this absurd thing where putting a receipt piece of paper is, and then, like, you know, for no reason, by the way, she just did it because she wanted to fuck around and maybe just try to see who maybe like went in and out of the door or whatnot because she's being nosy, right? Like that's proof here. But like the window, like I know Kinzo's old and like about to die, right? But that's me thinking, right? Shouldn't in her brain she should also go. I mean, I know the point is that she's poking at she's poking the bear here, right? But like you couldn't think maybe, just maybe, Kinzo could have like done something with the window, or somebody could have fucked with the window. Like not one person thought, like, I don't know, some insane shit could have happened. But I don't know. I just I'm upset on the behalf of Natsuhi. You know what I mean? Like, yes, logically, yes. The 3rd floor, why would you just jump yourself down there? There's one legendary Brazilian streamer who went as far as cosplaying Battler while playing. When he got to this scene, he was all like, and how, chat, do we know that Ava isn't lying? Right. like, what's this bullshit about? Yeah, like, it's very funny. And how far do you plan to mock me? If you want to argue back, go ahead. That's right. Try explaining it right here, right now. Explain it like I'm 5. I am 5. I argue like a 5-year-old. If you do, I'll apologize for suspecting you. So we're just gonna ignore my incredible nicknames? No, I saw it painted on Mustache Man and Walrus Who Wished to Be a Real Boy. Did I not read that? Apparently I didn't. How did father manage to get out from that closed room? I cannot explain, and there's no need for me to do so. Really? Then let me explain it. Let's take the best parts from my perspective and yours and come up with a more friendly explanation. I believe what you said about father still being in his room this morning. I'll believe it. However, the next time the door was open, father wasn't there. You don't have any objections so far, right? I have no desire to hear anything more you have to say. Shut your frivolous mouth. Oh damn, they gave us a graphic and everything. My reasoning goes like this, okay? I can confirm that on both occasions you were the only one to go through the door, or go through that door.
そしてレシートもそれを立証している
And the receipt proves it. This receipt shit is driving me nuts.
にもかかわらずお父様を部屋から出すパズルの答えは
So what's the answer to the puzzle of how father left the room?
窓よ
The window.
窓から出したのよ
He was sent out the window.
夏日姉さんはお父様を3階の書斎の窓から中庭に突き落としたのよ
It really is. They really went back to that whole, like, it's easier to prove that, like, because how do you not prove this, right? It's that argument again where it's just like, well, there's no, you know, prove that I'm wrong about this. And it's like, well, what do you mean? I didn't do it. Well, prove you didn't do it. It's like, what do you mean prove I didn't do it? I didn't do it. It's like, okay, well, we'll give us proof that you didn't throw him out of the window and he hit the courtyard, right? Like what the fuck? Like, what do you mean? Natsuhi Ine-san, you threw father out of the third-story window of the study and into the courtyard. You heard her.
奥様、こらえてください。
Madam, please endure it.
エヴァ様、どうかおやめくださいませ。
Eva-sama, please stop this.
その後中庭に転落して死んだお父様の遺体は
I need her on like an Ace Attorney game, and then she gets guilty and then gets given the guillotine. After that, when you left and said you were going to check the doors and windows,
夏日姉さんが屋敷内の戸締まりを確認すると言って出て行った時にどこかへ隠したのよ
rejected mom from a spin-off version of Desperate Housewives. You took father's corpse, which had fallen in the courtyard, and hid it.
多分その時に死亡時刻を偽る工作もしたんでしょうね
That was probably when you took some measures to fake the time of death. You're assuming he's dead, though. We don't know he's dead.
クラウス兄さんたちの事件も、さらに昨べのベアトリーチェの事件もひっくるめて。
God, you make a great cop. You just fake shit all the time. This ties in with the case regarding Kraus Nissan and the rest, and also the case regarding Beatrice last night.
ナスさんが怪しい可能性が非常に高いっていうことだ。
There's a real good chance we've got reason to suspect Natsuhi-san in all those cases.
本当ならこんなことを言いたくはない。
Normally, I wouldn't want to say this.
だがもうぶちまけてしまったからには仕方がない。
But now that it's out in the open, there's nothing else I can do. Yeah, here it is. It's just like, I've made up this situation. I made up the entire story, and now that we've done that, I can say with full certainty that this bullshit I'm saying is true.
頼むわ、夏日姉さん。
Please, Natsuhi-san.
どうか自分の無実を説明してくれんか。
Please, explain how you can be innocent.
侍とわしはあんたを疑わなきゃならんのや。
Otherwise, I can't help but suspect you.
なぜこの私が
Why me?
この私が後宮夏日がこのような恥ずかしめを
Why must I, Ushiromiya Natsuhi, be insulted like this? Looks like we got everyone's views on record now.
ダメだな。全然ダメだぜ。
It's useless. It's all useless.
エヴァおばさん。
Ah, Deva.
ダメって何がだよ、バトラ。
What do you mean, useless? Jessica looked up at me, hanging on my every word. Aneva's expression was confident as ever.
全然ダメって何が
Useless, you say? What is?
バトラ君
Battler-kun,
聞かせてよ
tell me. Tell me!
一方からしか見られないから、夏日おばさんしかありえないって思い込んじまうのさ。
You're only convinced it was not Natsuhi because you're only looking at the case from a single angle.
別に夏日おばさんを擁護するわけじゃねえが、そんなハったりのチェックメイトじゃ通用しねえってことさ。
It's not like I'm defending her, but that bluff of a checkmate isn't gonna fly.
レシートを軸にした推理はまずまずだとは思う。
I think your reasoning regarding that receipt was passable.
筋は悪くない。
It's not a bad thread of logic.
だが、 俺の採点じゃせいぜい65点ってとこだ。
Well, you're a school teacher now, but I'd only give it a grade of 65 at
これ
best.
が答案なら居残りで補習ってとこだぜ。
If this were an exam, that'd be bad enough to get you extra lessons in detention, right?
あら、じゃあレシートで封印されている扉をどうやって破ってお父様を失踪させられるというの？
Wow.
私の説以外に。
Well, how do you think anyone could break through the door sealed by my receipt and make father disappear, other than by my theory?
エヴァおばさんの説は確かに面白い。
It's true that your theory is an interesting one.
そしてその説以外にじい様が失踪できる方法がないって言い切れるなら。
And if you could say for sure that there was no way to make grandfather disappear,
最終目撃者である夏日おばさんが黒であると確かに言い切れるだろう。
then you probably would be able to prove that the last person to see him at Nazi was guilty.
だが夏日おばさんが無実で濡れ衣である可能性が残っている以上。
However, since there's still a possibility she's innocent and these accusations are false, we can't be sure about that.
ならバトラ君は夏日姉さん以外の誰にお父様を失踪させられたというの？
Then, Battler-kun, are you saying someone other than Natsuhi-ne-san made grandfather
姉
disappear?
さんしかありえないのよ。
It'd be impossible for anyone else to do it.
私のレシートがそれを証明してしまったわ。
My receipt proved that, right?
一度目に書斎に訪れた夏日姉さん。
After the first time she visited that study.
そして二度目に私と訪れるまでの間、書斎は完全に密室で密室開封後には失踪している。
And until the second time when we visited it together, the study was a perfect closed room. No, it wasn't. And when the seal was broken on the closed door, or closed room, he was already missing. Why? How is a receipt a seal? That's insane.
これで夏日姉さんが犯人じゃないというなら、どんなトリックがあるってい
If that
う
doesn't
の？
prove she's the culprit, what kind of trick could they have used?
だから65点なんだよエヴァおばさん。
Like I said on Ava, only 65
じゃあ
points.
ここでチェス盤をひっくり返すぜ。
So let's try spinning the chess. He loves saying that. Spinning the chessboard around, shall we?
どうやって外部からじい様を失踪させるかじゃない。
The question isn't how someone managed to make grandfather disappear from the outside. The question is how did grandfather disappear?
どうやって内部からじい様が失踪するかって考えるんだ。
Yeah. We should think about how grandfather disappeared from the inside.
扉にはレシートが挟まれていたから使用されていない。
The door had the receipt stuck in it, so it couldn't have been used.
窓も出ることはできても外側からは施錠できず、しかもエヴァおばさんは書斎を訪れた時に窓の施錠を確認している。
He couldn't have, he also could not have gone through the window because you couldn't lock it from the outside. And when Aunt Ava visited the study, she checked to make sure it was locked.
だから窓も使用されていない。
So the window also wasn't used.
その時点では確かに書斎は密室だった。
At that point, the study really was a closed room.
これは認めるしかない。
We have to accept this. Fine, I understand why, but I don't like this logic.
だがしかし書斎は永遠に密室だったわけじゃない。
However, the study didn't remain a closed room forever.
レシートの封印さえ解かれれば扉は使用可能になり脱出可能になる。
Once the seal created by the receipt was removed, it'd be possible for someone to escape by the door.
つまり夏日おばさんがどうやってじい様を失踪させたかじゃない。
In other words, the question isn't how Aunt Natsuhi made grandfather disappear, but rather how did grandfather disappear?
どうやってじい様は書斎を脱出したのかって考えるんだよ。
That's more or less what I was getting at. Yes, how was he able to escape?
じい様の書斎はただの書斎じゃねえんだよな。
Grandfather's study is an ordinary study,
レ
right?
ンジさんの話じゃトイレからキッチン、ベッドルームまであるちょいとした家並みじゃねえか。
According to Genji-san, there's a toilet and a kitchen and even a bedroom, almost like a little house.
例えばベッドの下にでも潜って隠れたらおばさんたちは部屋からいなくなったと思い込めるぜ。
For example, what if he was hiding under the bed and the two of you only thought he was missing?
エヴァおばさんもそこまで調べてきたわけじゃねえだろ。
Aunt Ava, you didn't check that far, right?
そしておばさんたちは失踪したと思い階下へ戻る。
And then the two of you went back down the stairs thinking he wasn't there.
この時レシートはもうない。
At that time, the receipt was already gone.
つまりじい様は密室である間は部屋に隠れ続け。
In other words, if grandfather was hiding in his room the whole time it was a closed room,
エヴァおばさんたちをやり過ごした後に部屋から脱出することで
and
この密室を破ることができる。
escaped after letting the two of you go past him, we can crack this closed room right open.
何よそれ。
What are you talking about?
どうしてお父様がそんな妙なことをして部屋を抜け出さなきゃならないの？
Why would father need to escape the room in such a bizarre fashion?
口頭無形にも程があるわよ。
Don't be so absurd.
ああ、口頭無形かもな。
Yeah, it might be absurd.
だがそれでも夏日おばさんが濡れ衣かもしれない可能性は示してる。
However, it still shows that there's a possibility Aunt Nazi is being falsely accused.
エヴァおばさんのレシートは完璧じゃねえ。
Your receipt wasn't perfect.
チェスで言えばチェックくらいにはなったろ。
In chess, we might call that check.
だがチェックメイトじゃねえ。
But it isn't checkmate.
そして俺が最高に気に入らねえのは
But the thing that really pisses me off,
それを夏日おばさんに釈明しろと迫ってそれができなきゃ黒だって断定しようとしたエヴァおばさんのその論法さ。
okay, good. Okay, we finally got here. Is how you're pressuring Aunt Nazi to explain it, then claiming that she must be guilty if she doesn't.
それがまかり通るってんだな。
If you want to go down that road, then why don't you let me?
ここでもう一回。
Oh! He really did become Phoenix, right? If you want to go down that road, then why don't you let me, Ushiromiya Battler, spin the chessboard around one more time?
エヴァおばさん、あんたの論法によるならよ。
I'm kind of shocked there isn't like an interactive element here where they would be like, okay, now put it together. Aunt Ava, according to your argument, or at least like argue your point.
あんたと秀吉おじさんが昨日親父たち6人を殺害してからのこのことゲストハウスに帰ったんじゃないってことを
By your
この場で
logic,
釈明してもらわなくちゃならねえぜ。
you must be able to, you must explain to us why you and Uncle Hideyoshi couldn't have killed those six last night, and then casually returned to the guest house. There's a non-zero number of UMINEKO X Ace Attorney fan game. I bet there is.
夏日おばさんに釈明を強いたんだ。
You've been trying to force Aunt Natsuhi to explain.
あんたにはもちろん自身の潔白を釈明できるんだろうな。
So I'm sure you can prove your innocence, right?
じいさまの遺産が全部転がり込むエヴァおばさんよ。
Especially now that all grandfather's wealth has suddenly plopped down right into your hands. That is very true. There you go. Let's go, Battler.
そうだぜ。エヴァおばさんだって十分怪しいじゃねえかよ。
That's right. You're suspicious enough yourself, aren't you?
母さんがじいさまの最終目撃者だから怪しいって言うなら、
If you say mom's suspicious because she was the last person to see
エ
him,
ヴァおばさんだって父さんたちの最終目撃者じゃないか。
then what about you, Aunt Ava, the last person to see Dad and the rest?
バトラーの言う通りだぜ。自分たちは殺してないってことを証明してみせろよ。
Just like Battler said, prove that you two weren't the ones who killed them.
僕もお母さんの推理は少し勇み足だと思うな。
Mother, I also think your reasoning was a little overeager.
レシートの件は確かに重要なヒントだと思う。
Ooh, excuse me. Ooh, there we go. I'm sure the receipt was an important hint.
でもそれはバトラ君の言う通り、夏日おばさんが何がしかの犯人であることを断定できるものじゃない。
But like Battler-kun said, that's not enough to prove that Nazi was responsible for some
僕たち
plot.
は等しく全員が容疑者なんだ。
We're all equally suspicious.
夏日おばさんだけが責められる道理はない。
It's not right for only Aunt Natsuki to be persecuted.
誇り高きお父様が床に這いつくばってベッドの下に。
Our proud father crawling under his bed.
そんなざれ言で説明がつくと思って。
You call nonsense like that an explanation? Bro, I mean, that makes more sense than anything else you've said.
それならエヴァおばさんが先に説明しろよ。
In that case, why don't you explain
確
first?
認を誰がどうやって殺して、そして自分が関わっていないという証拠を示してみろってんだ。
Who killed those six and how, and then try showing us proof that you weren't involved. Everyone be like, fuck you, Ava. And George is like, okay, Mom, you're smart and awesome. Let's go back to bed, okay? George is like, yeah, you know, maybe you went a little too far this time. Oh, right, asthma. See what you did now? Her asthma done acting up. Okay, seriously, get her an inhaler. Oh shit, asthma attack. Okay. Oh no, what if the two closest are Nazi, he and Jessica? Oh no. Anyone? Nanji? No one? Milady. Jessica suddenly started coughing. First, I thought she was choking after yelling too loud, but before long, I realized how painful it looked. Jessica kept coughing and choking, down on her hands and knees. Jessica, hang in there. Dr. Nanjo.
Jessica-san,
Jessica-san, your inhaler, quick. Wait, I have one with me. Dr. Nanjo pulled out a bronchodilator. If it's bronchitis, that has to be bronchodilator. Bronchodilator? It has to be bronchodilator. It has to be. From his own bag, which was lying on the sofa, and handed it to Jessica. Come to think of it, 6 years ago, didn't Jessica sometimes break into violent coughing fits and have to use that to dilate the bronchi? Yeah. I know me stopping there was this word looks awkward because it's like having like bronchitis and like dealing with the bronchi, right? But this word bronchodilator does not roll off the tongue, even though I'm 1000% sure that's how it's pronounced. Yeah, it's a bronchodilator, but I'm like, for some reason that still sounds wrong in my head. Oh shit.
Aniki, Jessica ってこんなに喘息ひどかったっけ?
Come to think of it, 6 years ago, didn't Jessica sometimes bring the coughing fits? I have to use that. However, 6 years ago, I never saw Jessica look like she was in this much pain. Aniki, was Jessica's asthma always this bad?
ここ数年でだいぶ悪くなったんだよ。
It's gotten a lot worse these last few years.
大丈夫な時はいいんだけどね。
It's no problem when she's normal.
突然発作が来ると咳が止まらなくなるんだよ。
But when an attack suddenly comes, she can't stop coughing anymore. She needs to stop hitting the vape. Milady, your medicine. Here. Taking the inhaler from Kanon-kun, Jessica used it with a practiced hand. It looked like her throat would still itch for a while, but she had it under control.
大丈夫かよ、ジェシカ?
Are you okay, Jessica?
びっくりしたぜ。
You scared me.
大したことねえよ。
It's no big deal.
心配すんじゃねえぜ。
Don't worry about it. Beads of sweat covered Jessica's whole body, and she couldn't hide her rough breathing, but it looked like her sudden attack had calmed down for now. The disturbance had made the dangerous atmosphere up until now seem slightly unfocused. But that's fine. The kind of battle of mutual suspicion is completely unnecessary. When you think about it, finding alibis for each other and looking for the culprit is probably meaningless. After all, we're just powerless, ordinary people. We're just regular men. Oh no, what is it? We're just normal men. We're just innocent men. And then the lady like snort laughs, and it's really funny. After all, we're blah, 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 blah. And when the police come tomorrow, they'll definitely employ cutting edge techniques and investigate the case thoroughly, solving all the riddles and arresting the culprit. Arrestigating? Perhaps Battler-kun is right. After all.
私たちも疑わしさを拭えていない。
Just as Natsuhine-san is suspicious, I can't ignore the fact that I'm suspicious too. You were so sus.
それを今議論し合うのは確かに不毛ね。
Arguing about that now will surely be
明
unproductive.
日警察に全てを任せれば済むだけの話よ。
Everything will be fine if we leave it to the police tomorrow, if you can get in contact with them.
でもバトラ君だって知りたいんじゃないの？
But don't you want to know too, Battler-kun?
犯人を。
Who the culprit
大
is?
切な人を失った痛みを思い知らせてやるために1秒でも早く知りたいんじゃない？
Don't you want to let them know the pain you feel from losing someone precious to you as soon as possible? You know, the more of it you say that. Yes, that's what it is. We're just normal men. And she's like, does she say, what do you mean, normal men? Maybe she said that. I don't know. We're just, what do you mean, normal men? We're just innocent men. And she goes,
それは否定しないです。
I won't deny that.
これだけの上等を決めてくれやがった野郎を。
Even one
たとえ
day.
一日であったとしても。
Even one day would be too long to let the wonderful bastard who's behind this go.
でも、だからといって、18人の中の誰かを疑いたくはない。
But that doesn't mean I want to suspect one of the
さっき
18.
はああ言ったが、俺はエヴァおばさんだって疑いたくない。
Even though I said what I said earlier, I don't want to suspect you, Aunt Ava.
俺にとってのエヴァおばさんは、ちゃめっ気があって、いつも楽しくさせてくれる最高のおばさんだ。
To me, you're an awesome aunt who's always playful and fun.
そんなおばさんと、こんな罵り合いはしたくねえ。
I don't want to trade insults with an aunt like that.
ここにいる誰だって、そんなことは望んでねえはずさ。
I wouldn't want to do that with anyone here.
だろ。
Right?
みんな。
Everyone.
バトラ君に同じ。
I feel the same way as Battler-kun.
意味のない罵り合いだね。
It's pointless to trade insults.
多分、これだけの人数が朝から一ところにずっと集まってるから、
It's
みん
probably
なストレスが溜まってるんだよ。
it's probably just the stress built up because of people having been crammed in one place since morning.
でしょうな。
Probably.
無理もないことです。
It's only natural.
言ってできるものではありませんが、なるべく皆さんリラックスしましょう。
It may not be my place to say, but I think we should all relax as much as possible.
Eva.
Right, I might take a short break in a moment here, maybe a few minutes, but we'll keep going a bit here.
わしらも頭を冷やすべきとちゃうか。
Ava, I think we'd better cool our heads too.
レシートの件は確かにお父さんの失踪を探る上で重要な手がかりになると思うで。
The receipt's definitely a big clue for figuring out how father disappeared.
警察が来たら話すといいやろ。
We should tell the police about it when they come.
そうね。
That's right.
そう。
Right.
レシートの一件でつい鬼の首を取ったような気持ちになっちゃったのね。
Every Monday, this account posts the video. Yeah. That's the one. I'm not clicking on it because no, I'm not clicking on it because I don't want to click on it. I'm not clicking on it because then I'll have to go watch it and then I'll derail for forever. I just felt a little triumph when I figured out that part with the receipt.
確かに夏日姉さんだけを疑うのはフェアじゃないわ。
Of course, it isn't fair to only suspect Natsuhine-san, right?
私たちだって等しく疑わしい。
We're just as suspicious.
でもね、バトラ君。
But still, Battler-kun.
レシートの話だけは本当よ。
Just sharing an X video on stream. Jesus. At least the part about the receipt is real, okay?
これ忘れないでね。
Don't forget it.
そしてこれがどういう意味を持つか、もう一度よく考えてみてね。
Hi, stomach. What the fuck was that? I know I haven't really eaten today, but geez, like, I felt that like down in my stomach and it just like reverberated through my body. I'm sorry if you heard that. And try thinking deeply about what it means one more time, okay? Aneva and Uncle Hideyoshi stood up. It looked like they planned on leaving the parlor.
結局私たちはこんな推理ごっこしても意味はないのよ。
In the end, it's pointless for us to keep playing detectives.
だってどうせ警察が全て明かしてくれるんですもの。
After all, the police will reveal everything anyway. That's right. Even if we don't play this detective game, the typhoon will pass. And when those lively seagulls return to the harbor, everything itself will settle. Something tells me that won't happen. That's right. If you think about it, this kind of crime is completely trivial. It will definitely be resolved. Even if we do nothing. When the seagulls cry. They did the thing.
これ以上夏日姉さんも私の顔を見ていたくはないでしょ。
Natsune-san, I take it you don't want to see my face anymore? Yeah, I don't want to see your face ever. I feel the same.
確か姉さんは昨日ゲストハウスに帰らなくて済むようにって客室を用意してくれたのよね。
If I remember correctly, yesterday you had some rooms prepared for us in the mansion so that we wouldn't need to go back to the guest room, right?
あそこはバスもトイレもあるし、鍵もチェーンもかかる。
Those should each have a bath and a toilet, as well as a lock and a chain to secure the door.
横になれるベッドもあるし、主人もマリアちゃんとチャンネル争いをせずにテレビを見ることができるわ。
There's even a bed to lie on, and my husband will be able to watch TV without having to fight with Maria-chan over what channel to watch. You know what? That is a fantastic image to take a quick break on. I will be right back. It's just her with the gun. She'll shoot at you if you leave. I apologize. I am back. That took way longer than I was expecting it to. I went to just go for one moment because my food was here. And I was like, okay, cool. This would be a great time for me to take a break. This is also what happens when you put very clear instructions to say, hey, give me a call once you're here. You can't get in. Just let me know, right? Very, very clear. Not only were they not here, they were at the wrong place. And I waited for like what felt like 7 minutes. And I could tell because you guys have been talking for about like 10 minutes with me gone and just never once called. And I'm like, if you're there and you're looking around and you're not finding it and I'm not there, why haven't you said anything yet? So it took me calling them for them to finally figure out they're at the wrong place. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Ay. Sorry. I don't mean to be mad at like, you know, it's just like, it's delivery. Like, I'm not upset like at them or anything, but I'm just like, if I do say communicate, and if you are lost and if you've been like not finding a place for a while, just call, like message something. Communication is important, everybody. Sorry. I am back. I apologize for the wait here. That one was on me. What I probably should have done is like I should have just called them before I went down there. But I was sitting there looking. And I'm like, okay, they're like right here. Let me go downstairs and it'll be all good. And nope. Sorry about that. All right. Anyway, Nazi has a gun. Same thing happens to me when I order stuff at work. You guys have just been having fun here. Honestly, we need some weed here ASAP. Everyone, let's go pass the blunt around and chill. Yes, everybody really does need to just chill out. The rain sound effects are actually really relaxing. I am sorry, everybody. I did not mean to forsake you. Do whatever you want. But make sure to be cautious. Thank you, Ne-san. And mind your business. Link is funny. I gotta check it out. Oh, let me see here. Am I okay to look at this? Oh. I should have never smoked that shit. Now I'm on Rokujima doing the Ushiromiya family conference on October 4th, 1986. Oh, that's funny. That's good. I like that. That's a good one. I'll be counting on you to keep an eye on everyone, okay? Because the culprit is definitely here. And Ne-san, make sure you don't forget to keep an eye on yourself too. Have you finished taking your parting shots? No, she's not. Yeah, I'm finished. See you, Natsuhine-san. Genji-san, let's know when it's time for dinner. You know what it is? Every time I hear her say Genji-san, I just think what's her fuck? Makima from fucking Chainsaw Man, Denji-kun. Like every time she says it, and it almost has very similar vibes too. Until then, we'll lock ourselves in with. Oh, excuse me. We'll lock ourselves in with the chain. I'm sure somebody has definitely done a mashup with Ava and Makima because it would fit too well. Genji, Kanon. Escort them to the guest room. We'll be fine. I hate shady escorts. What? In fact, I'd be more comfortable if nobody leaves this room until we reach ours. Let's go, George.
僕はここでみんなといるよ。
I'll stay here with everyone.
ジョージ
George, yeah, nah. We tired of your shit. We tired of your shit. Nah, bruh. No. Oh, no.
この部屋に犯人がいるのよ。
George, the culprit is in this room. The culprit is on this island. What do you mean? Painted on mustache man, you let this happen because you didn't tell Ava to relax, bro. No, like he's going to tell the person who is now about to get him filthy rich to relax.
そんなところにいるつもり？
Do you plan on staying in a place like this?
この部屋を出るということは親族の誰かを疑うのと同じことだよ。
Leaving this room would be the same as suspecting one of my relatives.
僕はあんな恐ろしいことができる人間が親族にいるなんて信じない。
I can't believe anyone in our family is capable of something that horrible.
ジョージ
George!
あなたからも言ってやってよ。
Darling, you tell him too, and he's gonna be like, nah, I'm good.
ジョージももう一人前の男や。
Alright, let's go, Hideyoshi. George is already an adult man.
そのジョージの仁義がこの部屋から出えへん言わせるなら、それも勝手やろ。
If his code tells him not to leave this room, then it's up to him.
好きにさせたれ。
Let him do what he wants.
父さん。
Father. I was gonna make a... I'm not the stepfather, I'm the father who stepped up, but then I forgot he actually is his father, correct? Correct? Right? He just... the only thing he did was that he took his wife's name, that's it. So George is legitimately his son, yes. Yeah, that's his bio dad, yeah. I keep forgetting that with the last name thing keeps making me think that he isn't, but then I remember, oh right, no, that's not how that works. All right. Aunt Ava and Uncle Hideyoshi left. The only voice that called after them was the sound of rain. It was the sound of silence. The parlor was being buried beneath the savage atmosphere. When I looked at the clock, I was surprised to find that it was already evening. Have we really spent that much time worrying about needless things, talking with each other, fighting with each other? Yes. Feeling bored, I started scratching at my head when... Alright, listen, if we're doing this, I begin... All right, go ahead. Do your worst. Maria and I made eye contact. I was a little surprised since I thought she was completely immersed in the television. I believe it now. Oh. And now, yeah, now she's gonna be like, what the fuck are you talking about?
手紙も殺人もすべてベアトリーチェの仕業だ。
The letters, the murderers, everything. It was all Beatrice.
いや、むしろ頼むからそうだと名乗り出てほしいぜ。
Fact, I almost feel like begging her to come out and take credit for it all.
19人目の仕業ってことにさせてくれ。
I want it to be the work of a 19th person.
じゃなきゃ、俺たち18人はいつまでも互いを疑い合わなくちゃならねえ。
Otherwise, the 18 of us will have to keep on suspecting each other.
これなら、19人目の存在を信じる方がマシさ。
I think believing in a 19th person is better than that. Oh.
扉も窓も開けずにじいさまを外へ連れ出すなんて。ベアトリーチェならお茶の子さいさいなんだろう。
Bringing grandfather outside without opening the doors or windows must be a piece of cake for Beatrice, right? Maria, after taking a single short breath, hung her head and then raised her face again. Here we go.
そうだよ。
That's right.
魔女の前に扉の鍵なんて何の役にも立たないんだよ。
Locking a door is useless against a witch.
ベアトリーチェは72中のすべてに精通する。
Beatrice is familiar with all 72 demons. All 72 demons. Whoa. What?
33位のガープは望む相手を望む場所へ瞬時に運ぶ力を与えるし。
The 33rd ranked GOP gives the power to instantly carry the desired person to any location. The fuck? You can just do that?
彼女にとってどのような密室に閉じこもった人間だろうと連れ出すことは難しいことでも何でもないんだよ。
To her, taking a person out of any closed room isn't hard at all, you see. Jessica, aka the amalgamation of every Girl Next Door actress from the 2000. Really? Really? I don't see that. And I say that as somebody whose one of my favorite movies of all time is The Girl Next Door, which came out in 2004, featuring Alicia Cuthbert as Danielle. And Jessica does not give off that vibe at all. She's talking about the Ars Gotia. Oh. Witches sure are incredible. Tell her if she feels like committing another crime to do it in a way that no human could. And make me believe that a 19th person. No, a witch exists. Why would you ask her to do that? Okay. What do you mean, okay? If I meet her, I'll tell her. Crap. Nothing's made sense to me for a while now. Just when I want to believe in a 19 person, I deny it. And just when I want to believe there are only 18 people, I deny that too. Even though I want there to be more than just 18 people here, I can't accept the existence of that 19th person. In short, even though there are more than 18 people, there are less than 19 people. The number of people in this mansion is 19 is 19 greater than X is greater than 18. What the fuck is this? There are 18.5 people here. So the number of people can't be represented by an integer. Oh, we're really doing math. However, it's impossible for there to be anything after the decimal point. You shouldn't be able to show the number of people with anything but an integer. And yet, 19 is greater than X is greater than 18. Albagra. How do you explain the fraction less than 1? It's no wonder. It's no use. That 19th person was something that couldn't be seen. Oh no, we're dealing with impossible numbers. Or no, not impossible numbers, imaginary numbers. That's why, since you can only write the number of people as an integer. I remember the day that we, I think it may have been calculus, or it was algebra 2, I can't remember. It might have been pre-calc. The second that they had us sit down in class, and that motherfucker, I almost said my teacher's name, said the word, like, imaginary number, I'm like, okay, now we're just bullshitting math, right? Like, now this is just bullshit, right? You just make anything, and it would, like, I think it actually opened up with the idea of, like, 2 + 2 is 4, or is it? And you can make it add something else if you just fuck around with the equation enough to make it equal something else. And I think that's how it actually opened up into imaginary numbers, and I'm like, all right, listen, I like math and I can do this, but this is where I check out. And that I think that was the moment that I said, no, I'm not becoming a math major. Fuck this. This is dumb. That's why, since you can only write the number of people as an integer, you couldn't see that person. That which cannot be seen. I actually want to see if I can pull it up real quick because I forget how imaginary numbers work. Because Beatrice has no body. Therefore, she is invisible. Is there a 19th person or not? Is there an invisible number or not? Does the witch exist or not? 19 is greater than X is greater than 18. The witch exists somewhere in that X. What are we fast forwarding to? 7 o'clock? Okay. All right. For those of you that don't know what imaginary numbers are, and for me that completely forgot, an imaginary number is the product of a real number and the imaginary unit I. That's right. It was always represented by I, which is defined by its property. I squared equals -1. That's right. I do remember that. The square of an imaginary number, bi, is negative b squared. For example, I feel like I just said something that didn't make sense to y'all. 5i is an imaginary number and its square is -25. The reason why that is because I squared is -1. So so that would mean that -1 squared is -1, therefore making 5i. Do I have that right? No, I do have it right. So 5i would then be 5 times -1, which is 5, and the square of 5i would then be -25. The number 0 is considered to be both real and imaginary. That's right. That's the rule about the number 0. 0 is supposed to be real and also an imaginary number. I have no fucking clue how that works. Like it just does. It's very, very weird. I hate it. I hate it when we got to imaginary numbers. That's some bullshit. I promise don't get involved. Blackjack, if you ever talk about math again, too bad. I'm going to talk about math all the time. The uncomfortable atmosphere, just wait until Saturday. Saturday's my birthday. I'm going to talk about math all I want to. The uncomfortable atmosphere continued even after those two left. It was thick with the idea that simply thinking about the culprit's identity would be the same as deciding whom to suspect. It had begun to feel like discussion of the case was itself taboo. So no one mentioned the case, at least out loud. However, those two thoughts were what filled our minds. All of it we could say out loud made our heads feel like they were going to explode. So, at least on the outside, the parlor had once again regained its calm mood. Everything was left unsettled.
少しだけ雨足が弱まった気がするね。
I actually wonder if this is a good place to stop. Because if that was actually where they broke off the chapter and we're starting at 7 p.m., this probably actually is a good place to stop because I feel like I'll probably be going for 2 more hours if I do so, and that takes me to midnight. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Let's stop here. Let's come back to this. Let's stop here. We could come back to this. I'm debating because of how much I do want to actually progress through this. Do I wait until Sunday? I think I'll still hold Sunday and Monday as our UMINEKO days, but I might throw in an extra day in here somewhere. It'll probably be Thursday if I do it. So possibly Thursday an UMINEKO stream. If it's not Thursday, then it will be Sunday, Monday again. Saturday. Oh shit! No, I'm not streaming on Sunday. Fuck, that's right, because I have to drive and I'm not going to be in town. The only way I'm streaming on Sunday is if I get back in time to actually do a stream. So actually, no, I won't be streaming Sunday. Okay, then we'll do a makeup stream on Thursday for UMINEKO then. So Thursday will be UMINEKO. Sunday will probably be my day off then. And Saturday will be 999. And then tomorrow I'll probably do Hades 2. Yeah, let's go with that for now for the schedule. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate everybody being here. Thanks for chilling out with me and having some fun. I'm sorry I disappeared for like 2 minutes. Sorry, for like 20 minutes. I did not mean for that to happen, but I will see y'all tomorrow, and I hope the rest of y'all have a good rest of your night. Why did it not raid? Why did it not raid? I'm gonna raid the Tweedledee and Tweedledum. We all know who Tweedledum is. But yes, we're going to say hello to the people over at Regretful Twitcher. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Goodbye.